Documents say the 3-year-old has autism and is described as mostly nonverbal. She was in the care of her mother's boyfriend for up to 12 hours at a time while he reportedly lived with them. Interviews and hospital records note the victim received multiple injuries during those hours he watched her, including bruises, burns on her wrist and ankles, and even a bone fracture. After getting a report on those injuries, police found the victim and her 1-year-old sibling locked in a bedroom where ropes were tied to the head and feet of a crib. Medical staff believe they are likely what caused the burns. The mother is facing several charges, including child abuse and child endangerment. The charges against her boyfriend are more severe. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Child advocates are reacting to the case and are sharing ways that parents can cope with the demands of caring for children with special needs. KSL News Radio's Adam Small continues our team coverage.
My heart just breaks for this child that they were put in that situation.
Julia Hood is the research chair for the Autism Council of Utah and a licensed psychologist.
If a child is nonverbal, isn't able to advocate for themselves, they are the ones who need the most care and the most support, just because they can't speak up and say what's happening.
Hood recognizes there's a lot that goes into caring for kids, especially those with special needs, but she says one of the best ways to handle the stress is by making sure you're taking care of yourself first.
If you're not doing what you need to do to keep yourself regulated, to keep yourself able to be present and supportive of your own child, then they're not going to benefit from that.
Hood says it could be something as simple as exercise, reading a book, or sitting alone in a room for a few minutes to decompress. But if you're really struggling and need more help beyond that, you can find more resources on our website, kslnewsradio.com. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories. President Trump is standing by his claim that the U.S. strikes on 3 nuclear sites in Iran destroyed the country's nuclear capabilities.
Oh yeah, we think it's covered with granite, concrete, and steel.
Still, other reports say the sites were only badly damaged and would have set back Iran's nuclear program by a handful of months. The president, at a news conference after the NATO summit today, went on to say that the ceasefire is holding and that he's confident Iran is ready to come back to the negotiating table. During his visit to The Hague for the NATO summit, President Trump also met one-on-one with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers has the latest.
President Trump says President Zelensky and Ukraine are fighting what he called a brave, tough battle against Russia. The Ukrainian leader said on social media he discussed with President Trump a ceasefire with Russia and how to achieve a, quote, real peace.
I took from the meeting that he'd like to see it end. I think it's a great time to end it. I'm going to speak to Vladimir Putin, see if we can get it ended.
The president was asked if he's willing to send Ukraine Patriot missiles.
We're going to see if we can make some available.
Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
Other national stories KSL is following this hour. Today, the new vaccine advisory panel is meeting. Protests have erupted outside the CDC headquarters in Atlanta, with 78 medical groups have written letters touting the importance of vaccines. ABC's Jay O'Brien has more.
It's an influential group. It's usually made up of highly vetted doctors and public health experts who are tasked with examining how certain vaccines should be approved, how often they should be taken, including children, and which shots should be covered by insurance.
Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. fired the previous 17 members of the panel. It's a move that has concerned the medical community. Utah Governor Spencer Cox is the new chair of the Western Governors Association, and his top priority in the role will be pushing for new sources of energy. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis reports.
At the Western Governors Association meeting, Governor Cox said he would like the group to push for changes at the federal level that will allow states to go forward with their own energy plans. He tells Deseret News overregulation, permitting delays, and bad infrastructure all contribute to the problem. Cox says he believes leading the world in energy production should be a top priority for the country. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
There are several planned power outages in southern Utah today as part of the firefighting efforts near the France Canyon fire. The fire is the largest currently burning in the state at more than 25,000 acres since starting about 2 weeks ago. The power will be cut, so fire crews can light controlled burns near some power lines. The Forsyth fire in southern Utah has now burned nearly 9,000 acres, but still has no containment. Candy Stevenson, the Great Basin Incident Management Team, says the fire is still growing, but they are making progress.
We do expect the fire to continue to grow and we'll have an increase in acres, but we're looking at increase in containment probably later today, if not by tomorrow.
We also now know the fire was started by a lightning strike on a tree that smoldered for more than a week before winds picked up and the flames spread. Evacuations remain for the Pine Valley area where 13 homes were burned, including the homes of 2 firefighters. The Beaver Dam fire that broke out yesterday in Box Elder County is now 100% contained. Firefighters were able to stop the flames within 75 yards of some of the buildings. Now, the fire was started by a vehicle that was running while parked near some dry weeds. First look traffic. What's going on, Ricky?
We are still seeing traffic backed up due to an accident southbound I-15 prior to the I-80-201 junction. They're still blocking a right lane of traffic, causing heavy delays to North Temple. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:06.
I am down 50 pounds in 11 weeks, and this program works. The pounds melt off. It's amazing.
Get in the best shape of your life with Soda Weight Loss.
Just 3 weeks in, and pounds are dropping off very quickly. I am down 26 pounds in 3 weeks.
Your summer body starts right here because Soda's summer savings are on.
Every single day, Soda Weight Loss is helping people let go of the weight without drugs, without hunger, and the weight stays off.
I tried other things, came to soda, just amazing.
I started on soda 8 months ago, and I have released 80 pounds now.
Summer savings, stunning results, only at Soda Weight Loss. Get started now at sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com.
Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and if you have a drain that's clogged or backed up, after you've tried the plungers and products, the next step usually involves some kind of drain snake or cabling equipment. You see, sometimes the blockage is far enough down the line that you need special equipment that most homeowners just don't have. That's where the Drains Department at Any Hour Services can help. A drain snake can clear most blockages and get the water flowing again, and clearing blocked drains is what our Drains Department does day in and day out. So if you're a homeowner with a drain line that's clogged or backed up and you'd like one of our drain technicians to come and snake the line for you, it's only $29. Yep, you heard that right. Any Hour Services will snake any drain line with normal access for only $29. Sinks, showers, tubs, toilets, floor drains, laundry drains, even that sewer main line that connects to the city. We'll snake any line for just $29. For help with your drain issues, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7700. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Thank you for joining us for Midday. Recapping our top story, a Box Elder County couple is now facing several charges related to child abuse after a 3-year-old girl with autism was reportedly tied up for hours at a time. KSL News Time, 12:08. KSL Sports, the first round of the NBA draft tips off tonight, and the head office of the Utah Jazz has some big decisions to make. KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson has more.
The Delta Center is a giant construction zone on the inside, so there won't be any draft party there tonight. But the Jazz brass, they have to decide. Do they use their 5th pick? Do they try to trade up? Or could they trade that 5th pick away for a veteran player that can help them win now? KSL Jazz insider Ben Anderson tells KSL Sports Live the Jazz, they do have a lot of future draft picks, and that gives them options.
Are teams holding on to draft picks too much now? So the fact that those are being used as currency in the NBA again is good and is valuable, and I think that loosens up the trade market.
Newly hired Jazz president of operations Austin Ainge, he says the team is done tanking, and the focus will be on winning again. Randall Jepson, KSL News Radio.
Ogden City leaders are looking at their options to prevent a historic building from being demolished. KSL News Radio's Michelle Rowe has the story.
The Ogden Union Stockyard Exchange Building has been on the Historical Sites Registry since 2015. Due to lack of upkeep, the 1931 Art Deco building may be demolished. Built during Ogden's boom years and used for many agricultural and livestock companies' offices, it was purchased by Ogden City in 2013. Ogden's mayor spokesperson Mike McBride tells KSL.com the city also has money set aside to possibly do some very basic work to stop the ongoing deterioration of the building if a developer can't be found.
McBride says they only have enough funds to reinforce the most vulnerable parts of the building at this point. UDOT and UTA are going over plans to build a tracks line between Draper and Lehigh, and they're looking for the public to weigh in.
As you're aware, this particular area of Utah is really
working quickly.
UDOT Trail and Transit Director John Van Jura says building light rail between the cities will be more expensive than a bus rapid transit system, but they think it will attract more riders in the long run. They currently have $75 million from the state to get the project started. There is a virtual hearing on that project today. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky Me, should we be in emergency traffic?
We're actually easing, so we're going to hold off on emergency traffic for right now, but we still are dealing with some delays. This is due to a crash on southbound I-15 prior to 2100 South, blocking a right lane. We're still seeing backups to about the I-80 junction, but we're also seeing speeds improve throughout the rest of the valley. Garden City, Utah, and beautiful Bear Lake presents Little Texas on July 5th at Garden City Heritage Park. Games, live music, and fireworks show, all free. Visit bearlake.org for details. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Alrighty, we're halfway through the work week, and I've got mostly sunny skies today, a hint of haze in the afternoon, 86 the high, and a 20% chance for a mountain storm. 62 overnight, mostly clear. 94 and partly cloudy Thursday, gives way to 95, mostly sunny on Friday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
A lot of sunshine in 78 degrees downtown. Coming up on Midday with Maria Shilaos, a declining enrollment prompting a study of the Canyon School District. We'll talk to district officials about the reason for the decline and what this means for the future. That's coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Stop for a moment and think about this. Do you know how much money in your 401k or IRA is actually yours? Or will the government take a bigger chunk than you thought? Remember, you still might owe taxes on that money. But do you have a plan to help make sure you don't pay more than you should? At Capital Wealth Advisors, we believe you deserve to keep more of what you've earned, which is why we're here to help you navigate the confusing world of retirement taxes. It's your money. You deserve to know what's at stake. Right now, taxes are historically low, but they won't be this low forever. So call the Capital Wealth Advisors team today so you don't miss out on this opportunity. 801-210-5500. That's 801-210-5500. You work hard for your money, and we'll work just as hard to help you keep it. Capital Wealth Advisors, 801-210-5500. Advisory services offered through Capital Wealth Advisors, LLC, a state of Utah registered investment advisor. Firm may not give tax advice.
We have 5 kids, 2 dogs, and we've bought 4 houses in the last 12 years. So our realtors helped us through the complexities of buying a house, the legalities of different property rights, right-of-ways, building concerns, or even ordinances, right?
If we were to try to do this on our own, we would have made a lot of financial mistakes. The realtor is now part of our family. She's who helps our family get to wherever our next chapter is.
Discover how a realtor can make a real difference at myrealtorstory.com.
This Friday, join KSL News Radio and NPS from 10 to 1 as the movie show stops by. Then, browse and uncover what makes NPS so great. With 4 locations, NPS takes a new inventory every day. Then, they check all competitors' retail pricing before marking items down 20 to 70% off. You're invited to visit the movie show this Friday from 10 to 1. And that's the first step to discovering NPS. Visit NPSstore.com to begin your own NPS adventure. NPSstore.com.
The Management Minute is a service of the MBA program in the John M. Huntsman School of Business at Utah State University. I'm Professor Scott Hammond. I hope she's not listening, but I once heard a divisional leader announce in a corporate meeting that she was outraged and would no longer share information with a colleague. She expected us to do everything we could to make that person fail. The media tells us that outrage is an appropriate reaction to the misbehavior of others. Marketers leverage outrage to get you to buy something you don't need. Managers use outrage to get you to do something you shouldn't do. The media uses it to gain a wider audience because they know through experience and research that you're more likely to believe the worst than the best. But outrage triggers the body's stress response, releasing cortisol and adrenaline. Over time, it can contribute to issues such as anxiety, depression, and high blood pressure, and is contagious. There is never a time when outrage is appropriate. Learn more about how to build collaboration in an MBA program at Utah State. Go to utahstatemba.com. I'm Scott Hammond, Hope to see you in one of our classes.
KSL News Time, 12:15. The 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
a mother and her boyfriend are being charged with child abuse after police say he reportedly tied up a mostly nonverbal 3-year-old child with autism for hours at a time. I'm KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla.
Second, firefighters in southern Utah continue to fight the growing Forsyth fire, but as of now, there is still no containment. Third, traffic and weather together, Ricky.
A right lane is blocked with an accident southbound I-15 prior to the I-80-201 junction. It's still causing some backups. Also in Summit County, a crash. It's been moved to the right shoulder eastbound I-80 after Jeremy Ranch. No delay. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Mostly sunny today with a high of 86. Maybe a 10 to 20% chance for a mountain storm. I'm Matt Johnson.
It's sunny and 78 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time now for KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. After wrapping up at the NATO summit in the Netherlands, President Trump says he remains confident the ceasefire deal between Iran and Israel will hold.
President Trump said officials from the U.S. and Iran would meet next week, restarting talks on Iran's nuclear program, though he indicated he didn't think it would produce a breakthrough and questioned whether it was even necessary.
We may sign an agreement. I don't know. To me, I don't think it's that necessary. I mean, they had a war, they fought, now they're going back to their world. I don't care if I have an agreement or not.
The president acknowledged fighting could resume between Iran and Israel in the future, but signaled he didn't think that was in the near term. Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
Israel has lifted emergency restrictions with businesses and schools reopened. Iran's regime says it executed 3 people accused of aiding Israel's intelligence during the conflict. A CDC vaccine advisory panel meeting for the first time today and tomorrow since Health and Human Services Secretary RFK Jr. replaced all 17 members. They are discussing fall vaccine recommendations. At the same time, Dr. Susan Monarez, President Trump's nominee for CDC director, is appearing before a Senate committee for her confirmation hearing. Lawmakers asking if she would commit to keeping routine vaccines free and available to children.
Vaccines absolutely save lives. And if I'm confirmed as a CDC director, I commit to making sure that we continue to prioritize vaccine availability.
In Tennessee, Kilmar Abrego Garcia is due back in court this afternoon for a hearing after a judge ordered his release while he awaits federal trial on human smuggling charges. The White House had said the Maryland man was mistakenly deported to a prison in El Salvador, but could not bring him back. After a legal battle, the Supreme Court sided with a lower court ruling ordering the Trump administration to facilitate his return. Abrego Garcia is not expected to go free today, but be detained by ICE.
Time now for the KSL In-Depth. The Canyon School District is figuring out what to do about low enrollment numbers. They are now evaluating boundaries and facility usage in 8 elementary school communities. Joining me now live to talk about it is the spokesman for the Canyon School District, Jeff Haney. Jeff, thanks for being with me.
Thank you, Maria. It's good to be on today.
Tell us about the declines you're seeing.
Yes. The fact of the matter is we have a significant number of schools in the Canyon School District with 375 or fewer students. Canyon's district had a drop of about 1,700 elementary students since the 2018 and 2019 school year. So now is the time. We absolutely need to study and engage our community on this issue right now so we can plan appropriately for the future.
So, Jeff, why the decline? What's happening?
Yeah, that's a good question. We've been asked that every step of the way in this process. Now, in early May, when the Board of Education launched this study, we told our community that we're facing several issues. First off, we have a declining birth rate, not just here in our area, but across the country. Also, the Canyon School District is a largely built-out district. There are few areas in our district where there can be new residential development. And then the big one, the rising cost of housing. The average cost of a home in the Canyon School District is $740,000. And, for young families with small children who would go to our elementary schools, that's just a little bit financially out of reach for them. So you can see that there are many factors contributing to this.
So what changes are being proposed?
So what we're doing right now is we've identified the schools that we are studying for their enrollments and their boundaries and the condition of those facilities. And so right now is an in-depth study of the projections for enrollment in those school communities, then how old those buildings are, and what it would take to either consolidate school communities and provide possibly new schools for those combined communities, or any other issue that we could do to enhance the academic offerings of those schools. Because as many of your listeners know, we provide teachers and staff according to the number of students that are in a school. And so if there are fewer students in a school, there are fewer teachers and staff and possibly academic opportunities. So this is the time to take a look at it and identify ways that we can make sure we're providing those academic opportunities in really well-maintained schools all across our district.
I'd imagine you're going to have a bunch of public hearings. So what is the next step?
Yes, the next step is, for right now this summer, we launched the information on our website of the study itself and which school communities are being examined. And then we opened it up for parents. Please go to our website, canyonsdistrict.org, and send us your thoughts. We want parents to be engaged in this process. The aim here is that we want everyone to be aware of the study and be able to contribute their thoughts. Then, as soon as we have more information about projections and the use of the facilities, the conditions of the facilities, then we'll continue to have town halls. We'll continue to provide information during board meetings. We'll send information to our families with our district-to-home communication tool. We want as much input from our community as possible in this community conversation.
Jeff, appreciate your time. Thanks for being with me.
Thank you so much.
Live on the KSL Newsline from the Canyon School District, that is Jeff Haney. Let's get you up to date now on traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
We have the final cleanup of an accident westbound on the 21st South Freeway just after I-215's westbound. Not causing a problem. It's out of traffic and no delay, but we still have a right lane blocked with a crash southbound I-15. It's before you get to the I-80-201 junction. That right lane still being blocked means we still have some backups in the area. Don't miss the 91st annual Ute Stampede Rodeo with Extreme Bulls on July 9th through 12th. Athletes and explosive entertainment combined with music, food, and multiple days of family fun. Visit UteStampedeRodeo.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast starts in the 80s, finishes near the triple-digit mark. I got mostly sunny today with a slight chance for a mountain storm, 86. 94, partly cloudy skies on Thursday. We're in the mid-90s Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with mostly clear skies. As we move into Monday and Tuesday next week, we'll jump the temperatures up to 98 and 99, partly cloudy skies. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Sunny and 79 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. And the 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Quick check of the markets. Markets taking back some of yesterday's gains. Complete update of your money news is coming up next.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Jane has 150,000 miles on her truck, and she's proud of that. Jane's secret? AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help her find the right parts. Jane's brother Josh only cares that his car starts and goes, but when it doesn't, he also goes to AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help with free services. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Progressive has great customer service, and it's easy to reach us because great and easy is the way to be. Like salads, great for you, and so easy you can put any group of veggies in a bowl and it's a salad. A full carrot with a head of cabbage, weird, but still a salad. 1 radish and a couple of green beans, also a salad. 14 blueberries, half an onion, and a sunchoke. Odd, yes, but an odd salad. So contact Progressive's customer service by phone, app, or online. It's great and easy, just like salad. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, their award-winning tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Find the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief today for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
At Trio Senior Living, older adults aren't slowing down. They're just getting started. The Prime Fit Wellness Program expands wellness beyond the gym into every aspect of community life. Whatever your goals, the team at Trio Senior Living has got your back, so you can put your best foot forward. Call 801-475-4004 today to schedule your personal visit.
Common Spirit Health has expert orthopedic care that gets you back at it and back to your best. Find skilled orthopedic physicians at Common Spirit locations who specialize in general orthopedics and repair of hips, knees, shoulders, and hands, so you can return to running races or chasing the grandkids. Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Orthopedic care with human kindness is here. Visit mountain.commonspirit.org.
Right now at S&S Roofing, get $1,000 off any roof replacement. Plus, you'll get their incredible 50-year worry-free warranty. Dial pound 250 and then say the keyword S&S Roofing for a free bid.
Watching Utah's money, Microsoft is shifting focus, laying off thousands of employees who currently work in the company's Xbox division. Multiple sources say it's because the company wants to spend more money on AI. There is such a thing as returning too many items to stores. ASOS, the clothing store, is reportedly blocking and deleting customers' accounts if they have a very high level of return activity. It's an update to their fair use policy, which offers free returns. Your price of your Starbucks dessert coffee could go up. The coffee chain is now charging 80 cents for any extra syrup or sauce that modifies the unflavored drink. It's also charging $1 for a scoop of matcha powder and 50 cents for dried fruit. And taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow down by 176 points, sitting at 42,913. S&P down by 5 points. The NASDAQ up by 23 points.
In today's digital world, outdated technology can slow you down. You need a partner who keeps you ahead of the curve. At Les Olson IT, we help your business thrive with top-tier office technology, from copiers and IT hardware to advanced IT services and security solutions. With Les Olson IT, you get more than just products. You get solutions, service, and a team that cares. Les Olson IT, empowering businesses with the tools for success. Les Olson IT.
On Thursday, August 7th, the Orrin G. Hatch Foundation will present U.S. Senator Tom Cotton with the Titan of Public Service Award at the Grand America Hotel in Salt Lake City. You're invited to join Senator Cotton, a senior member of the Senate leadership and chairman of the Intelligence Committee. The evening will also feature a performance by America's violinist Jenny Oakes Baker. Seats are limited, so reserve your tickets today for this special event at OrrinHatchFoundation.org. That's ORRIN Hatchfoundation.org.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
We are watching the final clearing of this accident that's tied up traffic on southbound I-15. It's been blocking a right lane just before the I-80-201 junction, so just before 2100 South. And now that that lane of travel is open, we're starting to see traffic move a little bit better. There's still some residual delay, not much. And if you're traveling southbound I-15 in Davis County, it's the usual slowing through the work zone, especially by Burton Lane. But if you're traveling from Kaysville to Farmington, expect possible delays. Traffic's rough, but your parking lot doesn't have to be. GoPave Utah keeps things smooth with expert asphalt maintenance at GoPaveUtah.com. That's GoPaveUtah.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Mostly sunny skies today with a hint of wildfire smoke. I've got a high of 86 degrees and a very slight chance for a thunderstorm in the mountaintops. 62 in the overnight, mostly clear to partly cloudy. We'll go partly cloudy skies on Thursday, 94. We're up to 95 by Friday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And a lot of sunshine, 79 degrees downtown.
You're listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos
on KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good afternoon. KSL News Time, 12:30. KSL's top story this hour. Police are on the hunt of a possible serial sex abuser after arresting a man accused of sexually assaulting a woman in his car. They are also looking for more victims. KSL News Radio's Don Brinkerhoff is live with that story. Don?
Maria, Salt Lake police officers began looking for the man after talking to the woman, finding out he had assaulted her twice.
During the investigation, our officers and later our detectives with our Special Victims Unit learned that the woman accepted a ride from a person she did not know. This happened outside of Salt Lake City.
Brent Weisberg with the Salt Lake City Police Department says investigators also learned that this may not have been an isolated incident. They are asking for anyone else who may have experienced a similar attack to please give them a call. Reporting live, Don Brinkerhoff, KSL News Radio.
The number of road rage cases in the state keeps stacking up, and now we're learning about a Farmington man accused of trying to run a woman off the road on I-15 in Sandy back in April. KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson has details.
The Highway Patrol says they looked at dash cam video to back up some claims from a woman who says a guy in a red truck got really upset when she passed him near 90th South. He then drove up next to her, swerved, trying to run her off the road, even made a throat-slashing gesture. Court documents go on to say the guy in the truck then pulled up in front of the woman and hit the brakes.
Salt Lake District Attorney is charging Stephen Holliday with multiple felonies, including reckless driving. Road safety officials say they're worried about the number of road rage crashes that we are seeing this year. Jason Metman with the Utah Highway Safety Office tells KSL TV that in all of last year we had just over 715 road rage crashes in the state. But this year,
we're only halfway through 2025 and we're at over 575 crashes. So we're on track to exceed our total crash numbers from last year, and it's just unacceptable.
8 people have died in road rage-related crashes in Utah this year. UHP is giving tips for how people can stay safe so they don't become one of those statistics. Our team coverage continues with KSL News Radio's Heather Kelly.
Tip number 1, don't retaliate. That's from Utah Highway Patrol Lieutenant Cameron Roden, who spoke on Inside Sources. He says if someone is overly aggressive or pursuing you, call 911.
Don't engage. If they're flipping you off, if they're tailgating you, move over, let them go down the road.
Roden says it's important to create separation between you and the other vehicle. He says even the aggressive driver probably doesn't intend to cause a crash or a fatality, but the chances of it happening only increases if other drivers retaliate. Heather Kelly, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories as the ceasefire between Iran and Israel still appears to be holding. Situation for civilians in Gaza is dire. Aid has been trickling in, but the chaos at aid distribution sites has led to even more deaths this week. ABC's Marcus Moore has more.
According to the UN, more than 400 people have been killed at these near these distribution centers that have been set up. So there's really a situation, a dire situation that continues to unfold. And we've even heard from Israeli officials who say that now that they have completed their operation in Iran, that their focus in terms of the IDF goes back to Gaza.
Nearly 50 people died at various aid locations yesterday. While the effectiveness of the recent U.S. attacks on Iran's key nuclear sites is still in question, a member of Utah's congressional delegation is defending President Trump's decision to bomb them. Congressman Blake Moore addressed the strikes during one of his call-in town halls yesterday.
He did this with 0 American casualties, 0 boots on the ground, and I believe made the world a safer place. And it's a long-term pathway to a more secure Middle East.
Moore says he feels the president was well within his rights to order the strikes because he is the commander-in-chief. This was not a declaration of war, meaning he didn't need congressional approval. President Trump has said the nuclear sites were completely obliterated, but other intelligence suggests it has only set back Iran's nuclear program by a few months. Other national stories KSL is following this hour. There are growing calls in California for federal agents conducting immigration raids to wear better identifiable clothing on raids so it's clear that they are real law enforcement and what agency they represent.
As federal agents are carrying out the ICE arrests here in L.A., often they drive civilian-looking minivans and SUVs. They wear masks, street clothes, and sports team hats, and often tactical vests that do not clearly say what agency they're with or who they are. That's led to confusion and calls in California for the agents to wear a more uniform, identifiable look to know who they are and that they are real law enforcement. On Tuesday, the LAPD went lights and sirens to calls of a kidnapping in progress, arriving to find out it was federal agents making immigration arrests. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
First look traffic. What's happening, Ricky?
Still a little bit of leftover busy traffic southbound I-15 from North Temple to 2100 South, but all lanes are open and that earlier crash has cleared. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:35.
Are you looking for a fun way to get your kids outside and off their screens this spring? Try flower gardening. Starting a beautiful flower bed or easy container garden is a great hands-on way to spend quality time together while teaching kids about nature. They'll love digging in the dirt, picking out their favorite flowers, and watching them bloom, all while making real, lasting memories. Plus, gardening is a great way to slow down, soak up some sunshine, and enjoy the fresh air as a family. This is Brian with Olson's Greenhouse, and my family has been growing flowers with care for 4 generations right here in Utah. Whether you have a big sunny backyard or just a small shady front porch, our colorful, locally grown flowers make it easy to add beauty to your home. So this spring, start with a new family tradition, one that grows with your kids. Get inspiration at Olson's Greenhouse Gardens on Instagram or find a garden center near you at ogg.com. That's ogg.com for Olson's Greenhouse Gardens.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Jane has 150,000 miles on her truck, and she's proud of that. Jane's secret? AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help her find the right parts. Jane's brother Josh only cares that his car starts and goes, but when it doesn't, he also goes to AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help with free services. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27 and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Thank you for joining us for Midday. Recapping our top local story, Salt Lake City police are looking for a man they believe sexually assaulted a woman who accepted a ride from him, and police don't think that this is the only time that this has happened. KSL News Time, 12:37. Weber County Commission is encouraging people to come to meetings in person after a hacking incident this week. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
Little is known about the hacking incident, just that it was, quote, inappropriate. So inappropriate that it's been removed from the county's YouTube channel where the rest of the meetings are archived. The county wants to cut back on the live streaming, asking concerned residents to show up in person to the once-a-month meetings. But the Standard Examiner reports the meetings will, of course, still be available online on their YouTube channel and Facebook. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
A Southern Utah couple is facing charges for reportedly stealing more than $600,000 in what was supposed to be donations for Ukraine. John Donaldson and Carrie Winters are accused of laundering the money through their ammunition shop. Court documents say customers thought the money was going towards things like night vision goggles, thermal optics, and other equipment for the soldiers. Instead, it was going toward private parties and shopping. People gathered in Payson last night to rally around a woman who lost her son to suicide and then her husband to a crash a few days later. Jen Suter tells KSL TV seeing everyone come out to support her makes her feel like she is surrounded by angels.
Mourn with those that mourn. Everybody is going through something in their life. Everybody has a death that they've experienced. And if you can go and mourn with somebody that has already experienced that, then the community comes together, and that's where healing really begins.
She says it's important to reach out to people when they are having a hard time. Provo City is celebrating the opening of the Delta Gateway Park. KSL News Radio's Tammy Kikuchi has more.
Numerous trailheads will connect the new park in all directions to 200 acres of land that have not been accessible before.
Which really opens up some area that really didn't have much recreational use before, but now will be accessible with canoes and paddleboards, as well as trails and bridges.
Provo City Parks Director Doug Robbins says the park also features the work to save the June suckers, a native fish to Utah Lake but endangered due to encroachment by competing fish. Tammy Kikuchi, KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
Back to a crash-free commute in the valley, but we still have crews working on the crash in Summit County, eastbound I-80 near Jeremy Ranch. It is out of traffic, so it shouldn't cause you any kind of problem. You could see delays, though, southbound I-15 in Davis County through the work zone, going between the Kaysville Ponds and Lagoon in Farmington. Jordan Valley Water says we're using about 12% more water than last year, even though we don't need to. Do your part. Water one day less each week. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
It's our last day with below normal temperatures. Look for a high of 86, mostly sunny skies, and a very slight chance for a pop-up storm in the mountains. 62 overnight, mostly clear skies. Will rise to 94 Thursday afternoon, partly cloudy skies, then 95 by Friday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Sunny and 79 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. Coming up on midday, the Forsyth Fire continues to burn and threaten homes in southern Utah. We will hear from fire officials on what progress they are making. That's coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
I am not a rich woman, but I feel like a rich woman every time I go in my closet. The best, hands down, present I've ever received was my husband secretly redid my closet with Closets by Design. So now when I go in there aren't all these shoes just junked on the floor. They're neatly sitting on their shelves. And my necklaces are hanging on their individual hooks, and earrings are in their little squares in this soft drawer that pulls out. It's just gorgeous. In fact, he saw how much I loved it. He had Closets by Design redo the garage. So now all the stuff, the tools, the toys, the junk is all in cabinets. When you open our garage door, you see cars. That's it. It's amazing. The things that Closets by Design can do, and it's going to save you money right now because you get up to 40% off plus an additional 15% off with 18-month financing. You can do so much with your closet, much more than you realize, with this wonderful Utah company, Closets by Design. Find out more at 1-800-BY-DESIGN or closetsbydesign.com.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Friday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security, Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370, 888-999-6370, or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
KSL News Time 1245. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
a man is facing multiple felony charges after police say he tried to run someone off I-15 in Sandy during a fit of road rage. I'm KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson.
Second, Salt Lake City police are on the hunt for a man they believe may have sexually assaulted a woman that he was giving a ride to, and they believe there may be more victims as well. Third, traffic and weather together, Ricky.
Earlier accidents almost cleared. The one that remains is westbound on the 21st South Freeway after I-215's westbound, but it is out of traffic on the shoulder. No delays from that or any other Salt Lake County crashes. Ricky Neese in the KSL Traffic Center.
It's our last day in the 80s, then the 90s return. I'm Matt Johnson.
Sunny 81 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time for KSL's top national story.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. In Colorado, the man accused of firebombing marchers at a Jewish rally this month has been indicted on hate crimes.
A federal grand jury coming back with 12 hate crime counts against Mohammed Solomon, up from the one he was previously charged with. He's also facing 118 state charges, including attempted murder. Prosecutors allege Solomon had plotted his attack on the pro-Israel march for over a year and wanted to kill his victims. Alex Stone, EBC News.
President Trump wrapping up meetings at the NATO summit in the Netherlands and touting his efforts to boost defense spending for NATO members. The president also credited for brokering the Israel-Iran ceasefire and U.S. strikes on nuclear facilities. The Maryland man the White House says was mistakenly sent to a prison in El Salvador and then returned to the U.S. appears in court today. A federal judge ordered Kilmar Abrego Garcia be released pending his federal trial on human smuggling charges. He's expected to be detained by ICE. This is ABC News.
Time for the KSL In-Depth. Firefighters continue to try and protect homes in southern Utah as the Forsyth fire continues to rage. At last check, the fire was nearly 9,000 acres and there is no containment. Candy Stevenson with the Great Basin Incident Management Team says weather has played a major factor, but they are making progress.
Yeah, the weather's had a huge impact, especially on the last few days being able to get air operations up and running. When the first beginning stages of this fire, winds were too high and they couldn't operate air operations. They were all grounded. So now it's been a huge impact, as well as being able to, having the firefighters on the ground, being able to make some progress on the fire. A little bit less growth than would be if the winds were higher, obviously, but still growing. We still have gusts to 15 miles per hour on the ridges. So there's still growth expected. So we do expect the fire to continue to grow and we'll have an increase in acres, but we're looking at increase in containment probably later today, if not by tomorrow, seeing some of those areas around Pine Valley where the most emphasis is from the firefighters, the most efforts being made to protect the homes there.
The communities of Pine Valley and Grass Valley are still under evacuation orders. So far, 13 homes have been lost. 2 of those belong to firefighters. But Stevenson says they now know the cause behind the fire.
It was a lightning-struck tree that was lightning struck several days before we actually saw the fire start. And that's what we call a holdover. We see it very commonly. Firefighters often will go out after a thunderstorm happens to see if there are any lightning-struck trees. Most of the time with a thunderstorm, sometimes we'll have dry lightning. It doesn't have a lot of wetting rain. Other times with thunderstorms, we have enough rain that if a lightning strike happens, there's enough, the wet vegetation around will just put itself out. You know, it could burn a little bit around the tree, but then put itself out. Other times it can smolder for a while. So with large trees like the one that was struck, it didn't have enough rain on it to put itself out. It smoldered for a while, and as soon as the fuels got dried out enough, the sun got on it, the winds picked up, and that's where we had the fire. So that's why it was a few days delay before the fire actually started.
Stevenson says there are forest closures in the Dixie National Forest as they continue to battle this fire, but progress is being made. Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
No delays on your Salt Lake County freeways, but southbound I-15 in Davis County through the work zone, you could see slowing, especially by Burton Lane as you go from Kaysville to Farmington. We still have the final clearing of a crash in Summit County eastbound I-80 near Jeremy Ranch, but it's out of traffic on the shoulder. The Good Feet store, supporting you with comfort no matter what the day brings. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast looks predominantly dry and hot. How about an 86 today, mostly clear with a slight chance for a mountain storm. 94 tomorrow, partly cloudy. We're to 95, mostly sunny on Friday. Saturday looks good, sunshine 94. 95 and sunny again on Sunday. Next week, Monday 98, Tuesday 99, sizzling degrees, partly cloudy skies and a little bit breezy Tuesday afternoon. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Sunny and 81 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. The 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Quick check of the markets. The Dow in negative territory, down by triple digits. A complete update of your money news is coming up next. So what is preventing you from taking off those extra pounds that you are carrying around? For me, I just had a ton of excuses, but I think the major one was that, hey, I was already trying and I wasn't able to lose weight, or at least in my head I wasn't able to. I was working out for more than an hour a day and just not even budging that scale. I want to tell you about Salt Lake City Fat Loss and how it really changed things for me. With this program, I've lost more than 40 pounds, and I didn't have to work out at all. There were no rigorous workouts, just a simple combination of foods that burned off the stored fat. It's an all-natural program. That means I wasn't worried about any sort of side effects, no injections or surgeries. Again, just that simple combination of foods. Plus, I love their app. It gives you a 1-minute inspirational video in the morning, gives you great recipes, helps to keep you accountable. And of course, they want to make sure that you are going to keep that weight off. So there's a great maintenance program as well. Right now, you can save $200. Find out how at slcfatloss.com, or you can call them 801-450-1882. Wouldn't it be great to lose up to a pound per day? That's what many of their clients do. Go to slcfatloss.com, slcfatloss.com.
You've built the dream, the home, the lifestyle, the legacy. Now it's time your windows and doors reflect that same $1 million standard. Whether you're designing a stunning custom home or upgrading the one you've loved for years, Peach Doors and Windows is here to bring that vision to life with precision, style, and craftsmanship.
The Peach specialty? High-end custom windows and doors that don't just fit your space, they elevate it. From sleek modern lines to timeless elegant finishes, they offer the kinds of craftsmanship that truly complements a $1 million space. And with Peach, the process is easy. No pressure, no gimmicks, just knowledgeable experts helping you find solutions to turn your someday project into right now.
Visit their spacious showroom, get inspired, and create something beautiful together. Peach Doors and Windows for the $1 million home you live in and the $1 million feeling you deserve. Visit peachdoorsandwindows.com or call 801-566-1255 today.
That's Peach Windows and Doors. Give them a call, 801-566-1255.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Jane has 150,000 miles on her truck, and she's proud of that. Jane's secret? AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help her find the right parts. Jane's brother Josh only cares that his car starts and goes, but when it doesn't, he also goes to AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help with free services. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Every success you've had began with a great opportunity. Now there's another one. Last aid year, University of Maryland Global Campus awarded over $21 million in scholarships to qualified students, including community college students, service members, veterans, and working adults. Now is the time to move your career forward with an online and accredited skills-based education. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chef.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think.
All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
KSL News Time 12:54. The Census Bureau confirms what every real estate agent in the country has known for months. The market for new homes has crumbled.
Sales of new single-family houses last month came in at a seasonally adjusted annual rate of 623,000, nearly 14% below the April figure and a 7-month low. New home data is closely watched as an indicator of the broader economy. The decline comes despite price cuts and sales incentives offered by builders trying to lure house hunters out of hiding.
ABC's Jim Ryan reporting. Watching Utah's money, buy now, pay later loans are getting so popular they will now be incorporated into your FICO credit scores. Axios reports more than 90 million Americans are expected to use the loans for purchases this year. JetBlue is no longer going to Miami. The airline says it's just not making enough money. They're sticking with the smaller airports, though. Flights will continue to Fort Lauderdale and West Palm Beach. It's still summer, but the back-to-school season is just around the corner. A new PwC survey says families are expected to spend the same amount or more this year than they did last year. Some parents say they plan on saving by using some of the same supplies that they bought last year. And taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is down by 159 points, more than 0.25%, sitting at 42,929. S&P down by 5, but the NASDAQ up by 21. A new partnership is making email more secure.
KnowBe4, a world-renowned cybersecurity firm, is announcing it's teaming with Microsoft to strengthen email security. It's the first initiative in Microsoft's new effort it calls Integrated Cloud Email Security, specifically to boost Microsoft 365's existing email security. KnowBe4 will use artificial intelligence to create ways to increase the detection of and the response to incoming cyber threats.
That is ABC's Chuck Sievertson reporting.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
An Australian hiker travels to the American West to walk a wilderness trail.
Wasn't afraid to be out on his own.
But Eric Robinson vanished in the high Uinta Mountains.
I remember thinking, Eric, what were you thinking, mate?
I'm Dave Cawley. Join me on my podcast, Uinta Triangle, where I travel the world to answer the question, what happened to Eric Robinson? Follow Uinta Triangle. That's UINTA Triangle on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen.
Transform your old, outdated kitchen with Half Price Granite. For a limited time, Half Price Granite is offering special pricing for a summer sale, starting at $20 per square foot installed. That's lower than most big box stores. These prices are some of the lowest around. Granite, quartz, marble, and quartzite, all starting at $20 per square foot installed. Call 801-486-1700 or visit halfpricegranite.com. Half Price Granite, affordable luxury.
KSL offers the best daily newsletter in the state. It's the 3 things you need to know. Every weekday, we deliver quality and relevant content to your inbox. No ads, no spam, just the 3 things you need to know to be informed about the world around you. Subscribe today. Visit KSLNewsRadio.com or text the word inbox to 57500. That's inbox to 57500.
Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's Dumble Rewards credit card promotion. Here's Ricky Meese.
Another day of delays. If you're traveling southbound on I-15 in Davis County, you're going to see that the slowdowns are waiting for you as you go from Kaysville to Farmington, and that's due to the road work in there. It's especially concentrated near Burton Lane, so just be aware to add a few extra minutes to your drive time. We're looking at a delay-free drive on your Salt Lake County freeways. The Good Feet store, supporting you with comfort no matter what the day brings. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Enjoy today in the 80s. The 90s will be back tomorrow. 90 degrees for the next 6 days after that, up to 99 by Tuesday of next week. Right now, a lot of sunshine and 81 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. Some of the other temperatures, Ogden at 80, Provo 82, St. George at this hour, 92 degrees.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The ceasefire between Iran and Israel continuing this hour.
I dealt with both, and they're both tired, exhausted. They fought very, very hard and very viciously, very violently. And they were both satisfied to go home and get out.
The time is 1 o'clock on Wednesday, June 25th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, more on what the president is saying this afternoon about the peace deal. Also this hour,
it wasn't just a threat to Israel or a threat to the region and U.S. assets in the region. I mean, it's a threat globally.
Former Congressman Chris Stewart joins me for his analysis of the recent U.S. bombings against Iran. But first, our top stories. A mother and her boyfriend are now facing charges after police say her mostly nonverbal 3-year-old child was tied up for hours at a time. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
Police believe the boyfriend is reportedly responsible for the injuries to the child. Charging documents say he moved in with them earlier this year and watched the girl for up to 12 hours at a time. During that time, she suffered multiple injuries, including burns around her wrists and ankles, bruises, and even a bone fracture. The injuries continued, and police eventually got a warrant to search the home, where they found rope tied to the head and feet of her crib.
The pair are facing multiple charges, including aggravated child abuse and endangerment of a child. Our top national story from ABC News. President Trump says that the U.S. and Iranian officials will talk next week. Ceasefire between Israel and Iran appears to be holding, and the president says both sides want to end the fighting.
I dealt with both, and they're both tired, exhausted. They fought very, very hard and very viciously, very violently. And they were both satisfied to go home and get out.
President Trump is standing by his claim that the U.S. strikes on 3 nuclear sites in Iran destroyed the country's nuclear capabilities. Iran's foreign military spokesman says that the sites were badly damaged, but it's not clear how damaged those sites really were. Situation for civilians in Gaza continues to be dire. Aid has been trickling in, but the chaos at aid distribution sites has led to even more deaths this week. Nearly 50 people died at various aid locations yesterday.
According to the UN, more than 400 people have been killed at these near these distribution centers that have been set up. So there's really a situation, a dire situation that continues to unfold. And we've even heard from Israeli officials who say that now that they have completed their operation in Iran, that their focus, in terms of the IDF, goes back to Gaza.
ABC's Marcus Moore reporting. The president is also speaking with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky during his NATO trip.
President Trump says President Zelensky and Ukraine are fighting what he called a brave, tough battle against Russia. The Ukrainian leader said on social media he discussed with President Trump a ceasefire with Russia and how to achieve a, quote, real peace.
I took from the meeting that he'd like to see it end. I think it's a great time to end it. I'm going to speak to Vladimir Putin, see if we can get it ended.
The president was asked if he's willing to send Ukraine Patriot missiles.
We're going to see if we can make some available.
Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
At this hour, the Dow is down 154 points. It sits at 42,934. S&P 500 down by 1. The NASDAQ, though, up by 48 points. Traffic and weather brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
A small accident eastbound I-80 at 5600 West at the on-ramp, but being cleared out of traffic. Common Spirit hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advanced health care in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today's high 86 degrees, but then up into the mid-90s for the rest of the week, and not a chance of rain in the forecast. 81 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Every success you've had began with a great opportunity. Now there's another one. Last aid year, University of Maryland Global Campus awarded over $21 million in scholarships to qualified students, including community college students, service members, veterans, and working adults. Now is the time to move your career forward with an online and accredited skills-based education. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chef.
Nothing says summer like double rewards on your Mountain America Rewards credit card. Get 2 times the points on everything from gas and groceries to travel and home projects. Now through July 31st, 2025. Oh, wow. It's the perfect way to stretch your dollar and make summer doubly rewarding. Apply for your Mountain America Rewards credit card at macu.com/double. Loans on approved credit. Offer can change or be withdrawn at any time. Limited time offer. Terms and conditions apply.
When you choose Performance Automotive in Bountiful, you're choosing selection, convenience, and exceptional service. With 3 locations, Performance Ford Lincoln, Performance Honda, and Performance Toyota, Performance Automotive is here to serve your needs. Performance Automotive in Bountiful, where excellence comes standard. Start your search at performancebountiful.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Jane has 150,000 miles on her truck, and she's proud of that. Jane's secret? AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help her find the right parts. Jane's brother Josh only cares that his car starts and goes, but when it doesn't, he also goes to AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help with free services. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
If you need to hire, you know it takes time. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. You simply pick a time and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day.
Try Zip Intro for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today. Talk to qualified candidates tomorrow.
President Trump is standing by his claims that the U.S. strikes on nuclear sites in Iran completely destroyed the country's nuclear capabilities. This coming as a leaked report from the intelligence community says the damage wasn't as effective. And former Congressman for Utah telling me that even if the strike wasn't as impactful, it was still important and necessary. Thanks for tuning in to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. The president at a news conference after the NATO summit today says the ceasefire between Israel and Iran is holding and that both sides want to end the fighting.
I dealt with both, and they're both tired, exhausted. They fought very, very hard and very viciously, very violently, and they were both satisfied to go home and get out.
President Trump saying that the U.S. intelligence community may have been inaccurate in their assessment that the American strikes on Iran weren't as intense as originally thought. I spoke with former Congressman Chris Stewart about the attacks and their effectiveness. You'll recall that he's an Air Force veteran himself and has years of experience flying similar missions as an Air Force pilot. He says what the president did was necessary. First of all, give for us your reaction to what has transpired in Iran with these attacks by the U.S.
Well, it was a brilliantly executed mission. I think it was essential. Had I been advising the president, I would have encouraged him to do it. So, and I think it entirely resets the dynamics in the Middle East. So I think it's a very positive event. It's going to be something that will change things in a positive way that I'm really happy to see.
We are hearing a lot about maybe it wasn't as effective as the president had hoped. Does that matter in the overall scheme of things and how this changes the dynamic in that part of the world?
Well, I mean, I think there's two things to address there. The first is, was it as effective? The answer is we don't know for certain, but anyone who's discounting it and saying that it didn't achieve what we'd hoped it done, I mean, that's just simply not true. At the very least, we should say we don't know for sure. But other indications are, some of them that have come out in just the last few hours, that the strike was perhaps even more effective than we had hoped. I'll give you an indicator of that. The IAEA has now said that they're sensing potential chemical leaks. That would only be true if the damage extended down to where the centrifuges are located. So I think it's a little too early to make a broad assumption, or at least with a high degree of confidence. But again, if someone's discounting and saying, like some reports yesterday, saying this may have only set this back a few weeks, that's just absolute nonsense. There's no way that this only set this back a few weeks. It just isn't true. But the broader picture, and it's implied in your question, is in one sense it doesn't matter that much because we know that we've set them back. We'll determine over time how much. But the president has made it clear that he will not allow Iran to have nuclear weapons, and if necessary, and I don't think this will be necessary, by the way, at all, but if in a very worst case scenario, there were other steps they had to take to persuade Iran not to try to rebuild, the president's willing to take those steps. But again, I think these strikes were very effective. I think the more intelligence we get on this, and it's not just satellite readouts, by the way. There's communications intelligence, there's human intelligence, there's signals intelligence, there's other things that will give us really a good idea of how much damage took place. But I'm really confident that this has, if not eliminated, nearly eliminated Iran's hope of having a nuclear weapon.
How difficult is it to make these types of assessments?
It's not terribly difficult, but it takes time. Again, it's not just a matter of looking at satellite imagery and drawing conclusions. You have to bring in, as I just indicated, you have to bring in other intelligence assets and other intelligence information. They help bring a complete picture, and some of that isn't done overnight. So, I mean, I wish it was as simple as looking at imagery, but it's not. And in this case, you're not looking at imagery from surface hits or surface detonations. You're trying to estimate imagery from deep underground. So that makes it a little bit harder.
In your assessment, does this mean that the U.S. is done with any sort of attacks of this nature?
I believe that's true. 3 or 4 days ago, there were some people who warned that, we're going to get into a World War III or, China or Russia is going to become involved or we're going to have boots on the ground in Iran. I never believed that was possible. I mean, I really think this is a very, very limited engagement with a very specific outcome. I think we've achieved that outcome. I see no reason at all why we would involve any further. And in fact, I think the appeasement has held so far, or the peace agreement has held so far, and I think it will continue to hold. So I don't expect the U.S. to have any further military engagements in Iran.
With your former military background, you have a unique perspective. Could you kind of describe for us how you believe that these attacks were carried out, what that would have been like for those people involved?
Yeah. So I mean, broadly, it's a massive effort. This is the kind of thing that you don't put together, in a day or in a weekend. It's the planning for this, the intense planning, took place over weeks. And I don't mean to indicate that the decision had been made to strike weeks ago, but very clearly they wanted to have things in place in case the president made that decision. As we know, this included 125 aircraft or so. They would have had to pre-position the air refueling tankers. They would have had to pre-position other tactical aircraft. They had to pre-position naval assets as well, including submarines. So all of that takes time and takes massive coordination. For the crews themselves, it's a long sortie. I mentioned yesterday when I was talking with someone that Brooks Laboratories tells you that sitting in an ejection seat aircraft flying for 1 hour is the same stress on your body as sitting in rush hour traffic for 4 hours. So it's a very, very exhausting experience for the pilots. I mean, 36 hours is a long time to sit in a car, let alone flying a jet. But congratulations to those guys. They just did a marvelous job.
As a former member of Congress, you have received a number of intelligence reports. Maybe you could speak to what danger really has been posed by Iran and why you think this really was an important step.
Well, and so it's not, it wasn't just a threat to Israel or a threat to the region and U.S. assets in the region. I mean, it's a threat globally in the sense of economic stability, in the sense of had Iran been able to complete their nuclear weapons program, they would have threatened not only Israel, they would have threatened U.S. bases. It would have made them their presence there very tenuous. It would have accelerated an arms race throughout the Middle East. Saudi Arabia is certainly not going to allow Tehran to have nuclear weapons and them not be forced to match that. So, I mean, the future was just so uncertain with this threat, a potential threat hanging over the region. They call Israel a one-bomb state because that's literally all it would take was one nuclear device to eliminate pretty much the entire nation. That was it was just an existential threat that Benjamin Netanyahu has made clear over and over again. He just couldn't let that hang over his people. The world is just dramatically different than it was a week ago, and in a very positive way. I think it opens the doors for further Abraham Accords that the president is going to pursue, like he did successfully in his first administration, bringing in other Gulf states and other Arab nations into peace talks with Israel. It eliminates the threat of Hezbollah and Hamas, which were, almost daily bringing barrage of missiles down on various parts of Israel. It opens the doors for other conversations that just couldn't have taken place a week ago. And again, I'm optimistic and feel like this is a very positive thing.
I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for spending a few minutes with me.
Yeah, happy to be with you. Thank you.
After the break, we'll go more in depth on what that intelligence report actually said about the U.S. strikes in Iran. But first is KSL Traffic. It's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
Slow down southbound I-15. It's after the Kaysville Ponds and before Lagoon in Farmington. Closer to Burton Lane, it's all due to road work. Jordan Valley Water says we're using about 12% more water than last year, even though we don't need to. Let's fix that. Water one day less each week. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
When you take your grandkids to Disney, do they know what's in your investment portfolio? Do they even care? They're busy having a great time, and you're busy making memories. At Galileo Wealth Management, we understand the nuts and bolts of retirement planning, our investments, the stock market, taxes, Social Security, Medicare, and more. But think about it. What are you trying to do here? Is your goal to beat the S&P? Or is your goal to make memories with your family? Our goal is to give you the confidence to spend in retirement without the fear of running out of money. Call Todd Kim at Galileo Wealth Management today. 801-516-3227. That's 801-516-3227. Or go online to GalileoWealth.com. Let Todd Kim and Galileo Wealth Management help you make memories, not just money.
Join the KSL Greenhouse Show and Olson's Greenhouse this Saturday, June 28th from 8 to 11 at the Hidden Garden Tour. Get an exclusive peek at new pre-release flower varieties at the Nola Ray Olson Research Garden in Santaquin. Visit ogg.com.
Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
The Management Minute is a service of the MBA program in the John M. Huntsman School of Business at Utah State University. I'm Professor Scott Hammond. I hope she's not listening, but I once heard a divisional leader announce in a corporate meeting that she was outraged and would no longer share information with a colleague. She expected us to do everything we could to make that person fail. The media tells us that outrage is an appropriate reaction to the misbehavior of others. Marketers leverage outrage to get you to buy something you don't need. Managers use outrage to get you to do something you shouldn't do. The media uses it to gain a wider audience because they know through experience and research that you're more likely to believe the worst than the best. But outrage triggers the body's stress response, releasing cortisol and adrenaline. Over time, it can contribute to issues such as anxiety, depression, and high blood pressure, and is contagious. There is never a time when outrage is appropriate. Learn more about how to build collaboration in an MBA program at Utah State. Go to utahstatemba.com. I'm Scott Hammond. Hope to see you in one of our classes.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owe the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they help me. They calm me down. They make me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. Optima Tax Relief. Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
You were listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos. Before the break, I spoke with former U.S. Congressman Chris Stewart about the bombing of Iranian nuclear facilities. And I asked him about a leaked intelligence assessment that suggests the bombings only set Iran's nuclear program back by a few months. Now, he told me that we don't know the full extent of that damage yet, but to say it wasn't successful isn't fair.
Was it as effective? The answer is we don't know for certain, but anyone who's discounting it and saying that it didn't achieve what we'd hoped it done, I mean, that's just simply not true. At the very least, we should say we don't know for sure. But other indications are, some of them that have come out in just the last few hours, that the strike was perhaps even more effective than we had hoped.
So exactly what did this intelligence assessment say? ABC's Ann Flaherty breaks it down with Start Here host Stephen Portnoy.
President Trump is in the Netherlands this morning, attending NATO meetings. It's a quick trip for him, mainly focused on Russia and Ukraine. Before he left Washington, the president had eyes popping all around the world as he flashed his anger over the fact that the fighting between Israel and Iran hadn't yet stopped. He told our Rachel Scott.
You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what they're doing. Do you understand that?
It was an extremely rare public display of Trump's fury toward Israel. Further angering Trump's aides, at least, was a report that raised new doubts about the effectiveness of last weekend's strikes in Iran.
Sources say this new preliminary Pentagon report finds the damage was limited, saying Iran's nuclear program was only set back a few months.
ABC's Ann Flaherty covers the Pentagon for us, and she joins us now. Ann, tell us more about this intelligence assessment.
This is all about this U.S. bombing over the weekend, as you said, targeting Iranian sites, these nuclear facilities. Everyone was asking the question of, did this bomber fleet get the job done? They had dropped 14 of these massive ordnance penetrators, these massive bombs on these 3 nuclear sites. Now, we had heard from President Trump, who said they were, quote, obliterated.
Iran will never rebuild its nuclear. From there, absolutely not. That place is under rock. That place is demolished.
But then yesterday, we did get word that that might not be the case. This is a report highly classified, produced by the Defense Intelligence Agency with the help of U.S. Central Command. And again, very early assessment, but it essentially found that the nuclear program hadn't been destroyed, that it was likely set back only by months. Sources are telling us that the U.S. believes, based on this, again, early intelligence, that significant damage was done, but mostly to the structures above ground. The enriched uranium, much of it had been moved in advance. It wasn't destroyed, and that centrifuges were largely intact. I also have sources telling me that the entrances to at least 2 of the facilities had been closed in the bombings. They had been essentially sealed off, but that the structure itself remained intact. So all of this, again, it could change very, very quickly as more intelligence is gathered, as officials look at this. Battle damage assessment reports typically take months to do. So all of this could change, but it really did cast doubt on what President Trump was telling us.
So how does the report differ from comments from the administration?
We went to the Pentagon, the Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, and asked him about this. He, too, had claimed that the Iran's nuclear program had been obliterated.
Thanks to President Trump's bold and visionary leadership and his commitment to peace through strength, Iran's nuclear ambitions have been obliterated.
And he told us that he stands by that assessment. He said, quote, based on everything we have seen, and I've seen it all, our bombing campaign obliterated Iran's ability to create nuclear weapons. He goes on to say our massive bombs hit exactly the right spot at each target and worked perfectly. The impact of these bombs is buried under a mountain of rubble in Iran. So anyone who says the bombs were not devastating is just trying to undermine the president and the successful mission. We also asked the White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt. She put out her own statement. She says that this report, first reported by CNN, was leaked by a, quote, low-level loser. She says the assessment and the leak is a clear attempt to demean President Trump and to discredit the brave fighter pilots who conducted what she calls a perfectly executed mission to obliterate Iran's nuclear program. So these statements showing you that both the Defense Department and the White House are doubling down on this. And, if you go to experts and you say, okay, so who's right here? I think that experts would say, only time is going to tell.
Well, and what can you tell us about how these battle damage assessments are even done? I mean, do we have intelligence on the ground, or are they just looking at satellite pictures?
So there are various ways to collect intelligence on this. You're talking about human intelligence. That's people eyes on the ground to actually see with their own eyes exactly what the status of the program is. You're talking about signals intelligence, them trying to collect, conversations of people talking on their phones, things like that. There could be video taken from some of the aircraft that was above the strike. It's going to be technical. It's going to be complicated. It's going to take time to get through this.
Sure.
And in the end, they will probably have very specific findings about Iran's nuclear program. And all signs at this point are indicating that it might not be as confident as the president.
U.S. senators are asking top military and intelligence officials about the strikes and their effectiveness. Those officials testifying that Iran is still a danger and a threat.
Iran still poses a severe threat to our troops and to Americans around the world, right?
They do. They possess considerable tactical capability.
And of course, Stephen, this has already been the question on Capitol Hill. Yesterday, Vice Admiral Brad Cooper, who's the number 2 at CENTCOM, was testifying, and senators were asking him, is Iran still a threat? What is the status of Iran's nuclear program? Of course, he said, I'm not going to give you a strategic assessment or tactical assessment. That's best done behind closed doors.
The thing I think that we need to do right now, and we are doing with clarity, is making sure our men and women are safe in the Middle East. And that's where our focus is today, sir.
He says, we do know that Iran still possesses considerable tactical capabilities. This would be a reference to missiles that could be fired at U.S. bases. And he says, of course, we saw that earlier this week when an air base in Qatar had been attacked by Iranian missiles.
All right. Ann Flaherty at the Pentagon. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Stephen.
Ann Flaherty with ABC's Stephen Portnoy there. President Trump now praising the NATO alliance at a news conference before heading back to Washington. The president says that member states have agreed to increase their military spending.
In a very historic milestone this week, the NATO allies committed to dramatically increase their defense spending to that 5% of GDP, something that no one really thought possible. And they said, you did it, sir, you did it. Well, I don't know if I did it, but I think I did.
Stick around for a few of our top recent segments for the next half hour, and join me again at 2 for more live midday as we look closer at autism abuse, road rage, and fire danger. It's 1:30 midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. The NBA draft kicking off tonight, and water-wise landscaping, plus traffic. Ricky?
A new crash northbound I-15 approaching 2100 South, now moved to the left shoulder, but causing delays. Maria?
We are done with the 80s, up to the 90s tomorrow. Let's take a look at our local stories in a minute, but first, ABC News.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. President Trump, before wrapping up at the NATO summit in the Netherlands, told reporters he's confident the ceasefire deal between Iran and Israel will hold.
I dealt with both, and they're both tired, exhausted. They fought very, very hard and very viciously, very violently, and they were both satisfied to go home and get out.
Capitol Police say nearly 36 demonstrators were taken into custody today, charged inside the Capitol for obstruction. That crowd protesting the president's budget reconciliation package that will also include cuts to programs like Medicaid. Minority Leader Chuck Schumer has been released from a hospital in Washington, D.C. after being treated for dehydration this morning, according to a spokesperson for the Democratic leader. Schumer was working out at the Senate gym when he felt lightheaded. He's back working at the Capitol, reminding everyone to drink water and stay out of the heat. The East Coast has been taxed by triple-digit temperatures all week. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story. A man arrested by Salt Lake City police officers is accused of sexually assaulting a woman that he was giving a ride to. Detectives say after talking to the woman, they think he may have done this kind of thing before.
The big reminder here is making sure that everyone prioritizes public safety. Anytime you get into a stranger's car or if it's a ride share, take the steps appropriate that you feel might be appropriate for your own personal safety.
Brent Weisberg with Salt Lake City Police says those steps include making sure someone can track where you are or talk to someone you trust on the phone or through a video chat. Investigators are asking anyone who has been attacked like this but hasn't reported it to please give them a call. The number of road rage cases in the state keeps stacking up, and now we're learning about a Farmington man accused of trying to run a woman off the road on I-15 in Sandy back in April. KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson has details.
The Highway Patrol says they looked at dash cam video to back up some claims from a woman who says a guy in a red truck got really upset when she passed him near 90th South. He then drove up next to her, swerved, trying to run her off the road, even made a throat-slashing gesture. Court documents go on to say the guy in the truck then pulled up in front of the woman and hit the brakes.
The Salt Lake District Attorney is charging Stephen Holliday with multiple felonies, including reckless driving. With Utah on track to double the number of road rage accidents this year from 2024, Utah Highway Patrol has some advice. Lieutenant Cam Roden wants to make sure that people don't engage if someone cuts you off or gives you the finger.
Don't try to retaliate in any way. If it's something that's going to cause a crash or anything like that's putting people in danger, don't hesitate. Call 911. Let's get law enforcement there. Get this individual stopped.
Roden says safety should be your number one concern, so make sure you create space between you and an angry driver. Other local stories KSL is following. The Canyon School District is trying to figure out what to do about low enrollment numbers. Jeff Haney, spokesman for the Canyons, told us earlier on Midday that they have a significant number of schools with 375 or fewer students.
Canyons District had a drop of about 1,700 elementary students since the 2018 and 2019 school year. So now is the time. We absolutely need to study and engage our community on this issue right now so we can plan appropriately for the future.
He says some of the factors that play into this are declining birth rates and the cost of housing in the area, pricing out young families. Taking a look at your money at this moment, at this hour, the Dow is down by 127 points. It's about 0.25%. It sits at 42,960. S&P 500 down by about 2 points. The NASDAQ, though, up by 38 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Here's Ricky Meese.
Delays right in the heart of the valley. It's due to a crash on northbound I-15 approaching 2100 South. It's now out of traffic to the shoulder on the left, but not before backing delays into Murray. No matter the weather, your feet can feel fantastic. Find the Good Feet location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today is the last day in the 80s. Tomorrow up to the mid-90s and staying that way all the way through the weekend without a chance of rain. 81 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Friday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
Are you living with dry AMD? If so, you could be on the road to geographic atrophy, or GA, a condition that leads to retinal cell death and permanent vision loss. But with Izervay, you can
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay slows GA progression by targeting a key source of retinal cell death, which may help preserve your vision longer. Izervay, or Avastin Capted Pagel, is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
You were listening to a replay of an earlier episode of Midday with Maria Shilaos. You were listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos. The NBA Finals wrapping up last night in a spectacular fashion.
And the game is tied again. It was a Game 7 for the ages, a back-and-forth affair with 10 lead changes in the first half alone. When it was over, the Thunder had prevailed, and guard Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was named MVP.
We have a team full of competitors. We did what it took this year to be champions, and we deserve this.
It was the first championship for the Thunder since the team landed in Oklahoma City in 2008. Jim Ryan, ABC Sports.
Now all eyes are on the NBA draft, which starts on Wednesday. Joining me now to go through it all is KSL Sports host Jake Scott. Jake, thanks for being with me. And first off, how did you like last night's game?
No problem, Maria. Thanks for having me so much. And hey, anytime we get a Game 7 in sports, let alone the NBA, which of course I love, I'm going to enjoy it. It's too bad that we had a serious injury in Tyrese Halliburton, who it was confirmed today did tear his Achilles. Of course, the star guard for the Pacers. But Oklahoma City was the best team in the regular season, and they proved to be the best team in the playoffs.
I know everybody was talking about that last night. I didn't actually see that injury happen, but my son did and his girlfriend did, and boy, that was major.
Yeah, those are really tough. The Achilles, it's going to take him probably at least a year to come back from that, and then kind of the year after that, as you get back in your feet, is tough too. So it's a tough injury for sure.
So seventh game, Game 7, that hasn't happened for what, since 2016?
Yeah, something like it's a lot more rare in the NBA than people think throughout the playoffs, but certainly in the finals. So it's fun to get there. The Pacers were really a big underdog all playoffs long. So for them to push the Thunder, who of course were the favorite, to 7 games, I think proved for a pretty special series.
Okay, so let's talk about the draft. What teams and players are you keeping your eye on?
So the Jazz have the number 5 pick in the first round. They also have number 21 in the first round, but the 5th pick is what everybody, of course, has their eye on. There's a couple things they can do. They could trade up. There's been conversation, although not lately, about the Jazz possibly trying to trade up for the number 3 pick, or they could just stay at 5 and make a pick there, which looks to be the most likely scenario. And, look, there's a few names. Ace Bailey is a big name that's kind of fallen in some draft boards lately that could be around for the Jazz at 5. Con Knippel played for the Duke Blue Devils. A lot of people might have seen him in the NCAA tournament and the ACC tournament last year. ESPN has a brand new mock draft out today where they had a guard from Oklahoma, Jeremiah Fears, in the 5th spot to the Jazz. And then they could trade down, which seems less likely to me, but would be an option as well.
So what are they looking for? I mean, they had a rough season this year. What are they looking for in the draft pick?
Honestly, Maria, and there's a lot of cliches that go to this, like best player available. But in this circumstance for the Jazz, it's absolutely that. It's not like they're set at any position right now. They're looking to get as many really good young players as they can, and so really they've got to aim for a really great player, regardless maybe of position or role, as they kind of search for the next generation or the next star.
Yeah, you mentioned a couple of players there, but I'm going to be honest, I've not heard of either. Give us some idea of what we're looking at.
Most of these players are guards or wings, kind of depending. I mentioned that Fears, he's like a point guard. If you think in the tradition, I suppose, of John Stockton, like that type of player, or a little bit bigger and guys can shoot. I mentioned Con Knippel. He's the best shooter in the draft, so he's a little bit bigger, 6'5", 6'6", but he can really shoot that 3-point bucket. Or a name I didn't mention, a guy named Trey Johnson, who's about 6'5", in that range too, but super athletic and super long, if you want to think wingspan and that type of stuff. So the Jazz are kind of in that range where they'll get kind of an athletic wing or possibly a point guard.
So what's the chance they're going to be able to turn things around in the next season?
Well, the NBA is kind of funny, right? I mean, if we take the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Jazz actually beat them in the playoffs in Donovan Mitchell's rookie year. Then Paul George played another year with them, and then they started a rebuild where they traded Paul George. They actually got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, a young Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in that trade, and a bunch of draft picks. And then they had a couple bad seasons. They ended up picking high with a couple of picks and getting the right guys. And now we see with an NBA championship. So, there are a number of ways to build a franchise, but it seems like that process is becoming shorter and shorter as the NBA kind of spreads out its most talented players.
Yeah, I mean, how long can you talk about a rebuild when it comes to the Jazz? Like before the fans get, seriously discouraged if they're not already?
And I heard a lot of that. I do the pre, half, and post game on the radio broadcast too, and so I certainly hear from fans. But interestingly enough, Jazz fans are really loyal, and I've been doing this for a long time through several rebuilds. And I don't know how often you get over there, Maria, but attendance never falls below 16,000, 17,000, even when they've been at their worst, because Jazz fans are really loyal, which is a really great thing. So. fans get grumpy, but they still love their Jazz. So that building is still full and still has a really great atmosphere.
Yeah, we did attend one game this year, and it was full, and the game was really good until the last couple of minutes, and then I was like, "What? Did you throw that game? What happened there?"
Yeah, we saw that a lot this last year because the Jazz do have some good young players, and I don't think the record actually reflected how good that they are. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they're a playoff contender by any means, but what they showed last year was kind of more trying to be in position for a draft pick than it was really to be their best.
Yeah, Jake, it was a fun game until the last 2 minutes. Thanks so much for being with me today.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
You were listening to a replay of an earlier episode of Midday with Maria Shilaos. Waterwise Landscapes. You've heard about them for several years now. You've heard me talk about them on the Greenhouse Show on Saturday mornings, and you've heard me and Ton talk about it too. Well, today, just a short time ago, in fact, Salt Lake County Mayor Jenny Wilson unveiled what she says is the future of waterwise yards and landscapes. Now, this is all part of the Slow the Flow effort. Joining me now to talk more about the landscaping that saves water is Tage Flint, the Executive Director and CEO of Utah Waterways. Tage, good to talk to you again.
Hi, Maria. Good to hear you.
Talk to us about this. Tell us a little bit about these new waterwise landscapes that were just unveiled.
Sure. We are really excited about this project. Ultimately, this summer, we're going to have 4 landscapes, which will be demonstrating different looks, different types of yards, but all with one common theme, which is water efficiency. And the first one was unveiled in Taylorsville today, and super excited about the fact that we are creating these really nice-looking, low-maintenance landscapes that are going to use half or less the water that a normal Utah landscape uses.
Talk about the importance of doing this, Tage. I mean, I know in the past people have thought that xeriscaping just meant a lot of rocks.
Right. And it was a stigma that was attached to xeriscape and other type words you hear out there. What we're promoting here is something much more usable and much more aesthetically pleasing. It's still going to have lush green in it. It's going to have really nice looking hardscapes in it, less turf, and something that's very pleasing to the eye. We just did a poll a few months ago of Utahns. We're finding that there's a shift in what we think is the most aesthetically pleasing yards out there. And it's more shift towards these more planter mulch areas with with plant life in them as opposed to just turf wall to wall.
Right. Describe for us some of the plants that you've included in this current landscape.
Right. So a very good hybrid of sod. So the place where there is a recreational area of sod is one of some of a fine fescue that has been engineered to use a lot less water and still be green and still soft when you walk on it. So very excited about that. And then all of the perennials that are in the yard, which it takes up most of the other plants in the mulch areas, are those that have been bred to survive well in Utah spring, summer, and falls, so that you have some bloom and some greenery mixed throughout the growing season.
Tage, tell us more about the hybrid Bermuda grass.
Right. So credit to those who are developing these new turfs, that they just simply require less water to stay green and lush. And now the trick for us is to educate Utahns on how to back off on the irrigation and allow these turfs to stay green and use a lot less water. And the reason we pick on turf a lot, Maria, is because we just see that per square foot, there's so much more water going on the turf areas than any other place in the yard.
So for a second, I mean, a lot of us, when we hear the word Bermuda grass, we just kind of get scared. So tell us about this Bermuda grass and how much water will it actually save?
Right. So this grass is, I'm told by our horticulturists, is requiring half of what Kentucky bluegrass would require, and so we're very excited about that. And it's still soft and very fine bladed. So it's different than the old Bermuda grasses that we used to deal with.
Okay, but is it invasive?
Not to my knowledge. I've been assured by our horticulturists that this will stay in its limits.
Okay, let's talk about water conservation in general. What are some things, simple things that homeowners can do to save water?
Sure. The first of all is to make sure you have a good controller that's controlling your irrigation so that when it does rain, it doesn't come on during those rain events. The second thing is then to start making sure that you have zones in your yard that are watering only the type of plant, similar types of plants, so that we don't overwater one area to keep something else alive. And then simply reduce our turf areas to the places where we recreate. One of the rules we like to send out there is that if you only time you walk on that turf is to mow it, it's probably time to reduce it.
And where can people go if they want more information on how they can be more water wise? Are there some good resources?
Yes. If you would please go to slowtheflow.org. We have a ton of good information there, and also an opportunity for every Utahn to receive rebates and incentive programs via that webpage. So you can go on there. Every Utahn is at least eligible for some rebates if you go to that page.
All right, Tage, thanks so much for being with me. That is Tage Flint, the Executive Director and CEO of Utah Waterways.
I am down 50 pounds in 11 weeks, and this program works. The pounds melt off. It's amazing.
Get in the best shape of your life with Soda Weight Loss.
Just 3 weeks in, and pounds are dropping off very quickly. I am down 26 pounds in 3 weeks.
Your summer body starts right here because Soda's summer savings are on.
Every single day, Soda Weight Loss is helping people let go of the weight without drugs, without hunger, and the weight stays off.
I tried other things, came to soda, just amazing.
I started on soda 8 months ago, and I have released 80 pounds now.
Summer savings, stunning results, only at Soda Weight Loss. Get started now at sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com.
Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
KSL Broadcast Group contests are open to participants 18 years of age and older that are residents of Utah, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest may not enter. Persons who have won in the last 30, 60, or 90 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available at kslnewsradio.com/contests.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Jane has 150,000 miles on her truck, and she's proud of that. Jane's secret? AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help her find the right parts. Jane's brother Josh only cares that his car starts and goes. But when it doesn't, he also goes to AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help with free services. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Attention RVers! In 57 years, Motorsportsland has never had a sale like this before. We've got over 100 new models coming in and our lots are already almost full. We've got to clear out inventory fast, so we've selected over 100 new travel trailers, fifth wheels, and toy haulers to sell to you at or below dealer cost. Like our 2024 Encore Venue off-road travel trailer, MSRP at $30,000, normally priced at $25,000, dealer cost at $22,400, and this week only priced to you for below $17,000 with amazing financing options. Or our 2024 28-foot Stealth toy hauler fifth wheel, MSRP at $99,330, normally priced at $83,500, this week only $67,743. Save more than ever before on your dream RV, but these deals are disappearing quick, so visit a Motorsportsland RV Center today.
Let Motorsportsland help you get away.
Motorsportsland.com.
You were listening to a replay of an earlier episode of Midday with Maria Shilaos. Leaving the professional sports behind for a bit to help children in the hospital. More on how Olympians are helping Utah kids in just a few minutes. This is Midday with Maria Shilaos. Utah Olympians taking a few minutes out of their busy athletic training to instead train children on ways that they can be more active. The Olympic and Paralympic athletes celebrating Global Olympic Day with the patients at Primary Children's Hospital in Lehigh.
This is the game show where everything was made up and the points don't matter, but we're going to play anyway, okay? So, we are celebrating today.
Harriman native Keisha Love is a world champion bobsled pilot. She tells KSL-TV's Alex Cabrero it means a lot to her to be able to step away from her stressful life of competition and do something to help kids.
Honestly, this was such a relief to be able to just step away from something that's more out of our comfort zone in a sense, right? Like our comfort zone is to be out there on the track in the weight room training, right? And then to come in here and be able to just take a step away from that stuff was amazing. And to see these kids with their smiles on their faces, to get visits from people that they see as heroes, but what they don't realize is we see them as heroes, right? Like they're equally as inspiring to us as we are to them. And so just to be in here with everybody and getting to be able to just, I guess, just bring this spirit of Olympic movement all together, all to one was just amazing. And just heard something earlier today of how movement is medicine, and I absolutely love that. Just getting outside or just moving around, just dancing, right? Just getting any type of movement going. It brings smile and laughter and contagious energy that is meant for healing, and this is exactly what we're seeing today.
A pioneer of women's Olympic skeleton, Tristan Gale won gold in Salt Lake in 2002 and a bronze at the 2003 World Championships.
I love the Olympics. I love the joy of it. I want to share it with everybody. And seeing these kids, it's everything. So yeah, it brings a really special Olympic Day meaning for me. The Olympics are about so much more than just the athletic event. The Olympics is really the one time every 2 years that we get to bring the whole world together. And I'm so glad the Olympics are coming this year. We all need a little bit of that.
Gale and the other athletes engaged the young patients in a few active games while also sharing some of their own personal Olympic stories.
The skeleton, which is totally individual on the same track. And I am not an extreme person, even though we don't know each other well yet. So you would think that I would be a real adventurous person and would say, 80 miles an hour is the best part of it. But it's all the technicalities. Our sport's very technical, so getting to know your equipment and making sure it's the best in the world was kind of the challenging part that I really enjoyed. And it's fun to go 80 miles.
Let's see. So I'm also not very adventurous, and I don't think I would enjoy going 80 miles an hour down an ice track. Let's see. How fast do we go? 30, 40? 40? Yeah, so the women probably got 30 miles per hour, and then maybe 40. So that's fast enough for me. But yeah, I would say my favorite part is just skating, because I've been a skater as long as I can remember. I grew up roller skating back in Florida, and now I'm skating on the ice, so that's probably my favorite part. Skating in circles all my life.
And it's always left, right?
Always left.
Do you have a sport you like?
Yeah, I do track and cross country.
Yeah, we got a marathoner here.
Yeah. I really like them both. I just love being able to have teammates to cheer on.
Amazing. That's awesome. I love that.
Can I ask you what event you do in track?
I like the mile a lot.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
That seems so far.
I barely like to skate that long. I would say my favorite aspect of like sport in general is just like the pursuit of being better every day. It doesn't really matter what your starting point is. It's always like a fun challenge to work at getting better and then see those results.
16-year-old patient Bailey Pace says it was an inspirational experience and it meant a lot to her to have these skilled athletes spend some time playing games with them.
Showing people that you can go somewhere even when you don't really feel like you can maybe, or like even if you had a rough spot, you can get back up and they're here to show you that you can make it far in life if you want to. So I think like seeing that, you know, if you really put your mind to it, because like some of them said they didn't see themselves becoming an Olympic athlete, but if you just do things in life, you can end up in places you don't think you will.
The visit, part of the International Olympic Committee's Let's Move program, which encourages young people all around the world to be more active.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
A devastating case of child abuse against a child with autism.
My heart breaks for them because they need people to be their advocate. And when that parent who should be your advocate, your biggest advocate, is the one doing the abuse, it just puts this individual potentially in an even more dangerous situation.
The time is 2 o'clock on Wednesday, June 25th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, more on the situation and tips from psychologists for all parents to keep a cool head. Also this hour,
if we had been able to understand where these winds were going to blow and how fast, then we would have been able to understand a little bit better, at least, where the fires would have gone.
New research that could better predict wildfire growth. But first, our top stories. The Forsyth Fire in southern Utah has now burned nearly 9,000 acres, but still has no containment. Candy Stevenson with the Great Basin Incident Management Team says the fire is still growing, but they are making progress.
We do expect the fire to continue to grow and we'll have an increase in acres, but we're looking at increase in containment. Probably later today, if not by tomorrow.
We also now know the fire was started by a lightning strike on a tree that smoldered for more than a week before winds picked up and the flames spread. Evacuations remain for the Pine Valley area where 13 homes were burned, including the homes of 2 firefighters. Our top national story from ABC News. The ceasefire between Iran and Israel gives rise to cautious hope for a longer-term peace, even as Tehran insists today that it will not give up its nuclear program. President Trump says he has plans to speak with Iranian officials next week, but Iran has not acknowledged these talks. The man accused of firebombing a pro-Israel march and rally in Boulder, Colorado earlier this month has been indicted.
In a new federal indictment, Mohammed Solomon has been charged with 12 hate crime counts for allegedly using Molotov cocktails to attack victims on the Pearl Street Mall in Boulder on June 1st. He had previously been charged with 1 federal hate crime. The new indictment is 12. He's also facing 118 state charges, including attempted murder. Solomon allegedly plotted his attack for over a year, wanting to kill pro-Israel marchers in Boulder. Alex Stone, ABC News.
Other national stories KSL is following. Videos are popping up online of Tesla robotaxis having issues on the streets of Austin.
Elon Musk's self-driving robotaxis have been running around Austin, Texas in test runs only a few days. Already there are videos on social media showing a few of them braking suddenly or going straight through an intersection from a turning lane and driving down the wrong side of a road. Federal regulators are looking into it. Many other videos show the robotaxis operating perfectly. Each car still still has a safety monitor, a Tesla employee riding in the passenger seat.
That is ABC's Chuck Sievertson. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow at the close down by a little more than 100 points, about 0.25%, sitting at 42,982. S&P 500 pretty flat today, and the NASDAQ, it's up by 61 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion, and here's Ricky Meese.
The crash that we had northbound I-15 approaching 2100 South has cleared. We do have a little bit of busy traffic after that between 2100 South and downtown, and crews are wrapping up and clearing a crash downtown at 8 South and 200 East. Advanced Window Products, $2,500 off 10 windows or more. AdvancedWindows.com, affordable windows guaranteed. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
The heat is on, taking on an all-new meaning tomorrow. The temperature, the high temperature for the day, going to jump by 10 degrees. And then we are staying in the mid-90s for the rest of the week without a chance of rain. Right now, 84 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Any Hour Services can make sure your AC keeps you cool this summer. Whether you need a tune-up, repair, or just a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
The wait is almost over. After 2 years of renovation, the perfect downtown lunch spot is now almost open. The Garden Restaurant opens on June 30th. The Garden Restaurant offers a beautifully designed space and deliciously fresh menu. It's close to everything downtown, next to the Temple Square block. If you need something quick and on the go, or to meet a client, friend, or place to relax, the Garden Restaurant offers healthy options like handcrafted sandwiches, soups, unique salads, plus traditional favorites like homemade pot pies and the famous Lion House rolls. The Garden's new look and tasty menu offer something for everyone, featuring dine-in, patio seating, lobby seating, and grab-and-go or quick online ordering. Visit the Garden today. Reimagine space with remarkable taste. Easy street access on the ground floor of the Joseph Smith Memorial Building. Open weekdays 11 to 3. Check out the menu at thegardenslc.com. Fresh flavors, iconic location. The Garden Restaurant, opening next week, June 30th. See you there.
Hey, it's Mike Rohn. If I have a choice, I like to do business with companies that actually stand for something. That's why I switched from Verizon to Pure Talk. No offense to Verizon, I'm sure they stand for something. I just don't know what it is. Pure Talk, on the other hand, is a veteran-owned company that supports our military in a big way, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I also appreciate unlimited talk and text and plenty of data for half the cost of the big guys, and I do like being on America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month, but what I really appreciate is no contract, no cancellation fees, and Pure Talk's commitment to handle all their customer service in this country. I saw it for myself. I went to Georgia, I got a tour of their headquarters, I met their CEO, and I talked to the same customer service folks that you'll talk to when you dial pound 250 and say keyword micro. Switch today and save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword micro. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
Thanks for tuning in to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. A sad story now. A mother and her boyfriend here in Utah facing multiple charges of child abuse. Police say the two tied up a 3-year-old child with special needs for several hours at a time. More now from KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla.
Charging documents say the 3-year-old has autism and is described as mostly nonverbal. She was in the care of her mother's boyfriend for up to 12 hours at a time while he reportedly lived with them. Interviews and hospital records note the victim received multiple injuries during those hours he watched her, including bruises, burns on her wrist and ankles, and even a bone fracture. After getting a report on those injuries, police found the victim and her 1-year-old sibling locked in a bedroom where ropes were tied to the head and feet of a crib. Medical staff believe they are likely what caused the burns. The mother is facing several charges, including child abuse and child endangerment. The charges against her boyfriend are more severe. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
Child advocates are reacting to the case, sharing ways parents can cope with the demands of caring for a child with special needs. Julia Hood is the research chair for the Autism Council of Utah and a licensed psychologist. She tells KSL News Radio's Adam Small that there's a lot that goes into taking care of kids, especially those with special needs, but that stress doesn't justify abusing a child.
Obviously, I would never condone any form of child abuse or abuse in general. But I also empathize with, being a parent myself, not of a child with special needs, but parenting is challenging. And it definitely, when you have a child with special needs, whether it's autism or other needs, it adds a level of complexity that makes it really difficult for some parents, depending on their child's level of need. And so while I empathize that this child probably had a higher level of needs, it sounds like, abuse is never the right response or reaction to what stressors are happening in the household. And I think it's just very hard, particularly if a child is nonverbal, isn't able to advocate for themselves. They are the ones who need the most care and the most support, just because they can't speak up and say what's happening or express concerns or stop abuse the way that maybe other kids could. And so my heart just breaks for this child that they were put in that situation, and that the family, the mom and stepdad, felt that that was the appropriate reaction to the stressors that they were maybe experiencing.
Hood says that parents of children with special needs, especially those who aren't fully verbal, must be the strongest advocate for their children.
I've worked with folks all across the spectrum with a variety of different ability levels and needs. And I think it's the ones who are nonverbal, or even if they're verbal, if their language is not functional, in a way that they can advocate for themselves, their wants, their needs. If something like abuse is happening to them and they can't communicate that, my heart breaks for them, because they need people to be their advocate. And when that parent who should be your advocate, your biggest advocate, is the one doing the abuse, it just puts this individual potentially in an even more dangerous situation.
Hood says one of the best ways to handle the stress of parenting is to make sure that you are taking care of yourself first.
It comes down to self-care and making sure that you're taking care of your own needs so that you're able to be there, present, and able to support your child. And, as I'm sitting in an airport waiting to board a flight as we're talking, when you get on the plane and the flight attendant says, if we lose cabin pressure and the airbags come down, you don't put the airbag on your child first, you put it on you, because if you're not there and able to help them, there's no one to put their air on for them. So it's kind of a similar concept of, if you're not doing what you need to do to keep yourself regulated, to keep yourself able to be present and supportive of your own child, then they're not going to benefit from that. And it feels selfish in a lot of ways. Being a parent myself, I often am like, I don't want to go for the run, because there's always dishes and laundry and kids' needs that can be attended to. But I know that I will be a better parent 30 minutes later if I go for a run than if I don't and do the laundry or the dishes or whatever it is. And then I am not regulating myself to be there for my child if they get dysregulated themselves or need supports. And so I think for whatever it is for every parent, and it's individualized, and it even changes. Today it could be me going for a run. Tomorrow it could be me having a half hour to sit and read a book, or, whatever that is that's going to help you feel like you're taking care of yourself and you're able to be able to more show up and be present for your child and stay regulated in those hard moments that can be so stressful for you, but not having that reactive experience is what's going to be the most helpful. So for some it's exercise, for some it's quiet time, for some it's just watching a show, for some it's taking 20 minutes to sit in a room by yourself and just be quiet, because you need to just calm your own nerves or calm your own body. And so trying to identify whatever that is for each person individually, and making sure that you're providing that, not as a selfish, this is me time, but as I'm doing this, I always think of it as, I'm going for a run. Yes, it feels good to me. Yes, it helps me, but I'm doing it for my kids so that I can show up better as a parent.
Now, if you're struggling and need more help, you can find more resources on our website, kslnewsradio.com. Stay with us. We'll be back with more in just 60 seconds.
I am not a rich woman, but I feel like a rich woman every time I go in my closet. The best, hands down, present I've ever received was my husband secretly redid my closet with Closets by Design. So now when I go in there aren't all these shoes just junked on the floor. They're neatly sitting on their shelves. And my necklaces are hanging on their individual hooks, and earrings are in their little squares in this soft drawer that pulls out. It's just gorgeous. In fact, he saw how much I loved it. He had Closets by Design redo the garage. So now all the stuff, the tools, the toys, the junk is all in cabinets. When you open our garage door, you see cars. That's it. It's amazing. The things that Closets by Design can do, and it's going to save you money right now because you get up to 40% off plus an additional 15% off with 18-month financing. You can do so much with your closet, much more than you realize, with this wonderful Utah company, Closets by Design. Find out more at 1-800-BY-DESIGN or closetsbydesign.com.
Road rage running rampant in Utah. Overnight, we learned about a road rage incident in Salt Lake County where a Farmington man allegedly tried to run a woman off the road, making throat-slashing gestures at her. Lieutenant Cameron Roden with the Utah Highway Patrol spoke to Inside Sources this morning about the growing and dangerous trend of angry driving.
You know, looking at the crash data specifically, over the last several years, we've averaged kind of the 700 range for crashes with a number of aggressive and road rage-related crashes. But this year, we're already close to 600 crashes, and we're already just only halfway through the year. So, you know, if we keep on the same pace, we're going to be well over 1,000, which is way too many on something like this that is so preventable.
He says in many cases, these appear to be male-driven incidents.
You know, a lot of times in these situations, it's usually, you know, not picking on males, but a lot of times it is males that are involved in these type of situations. So, but that doesn't make anyone immune from them, and making sure that we do everything we can to prevent road rage in Utah. The legislature has done great things to help us to combat it and to highlight what dangers there are. And so we've got the new law that went into effect last July. And so we've been collecting data on road rage, the number of citations we've issued. And so it's something that we're setting that baseline, and now we'll have something to compare for the future.
Lieutenant Roden says if you end up in a situation on the road where you feel unsafe, like someone is trying to attack you or push you off the road, call 911.
The best thing to do is just don't engage. If they're flipping you off, if they're tailgating you, move over, let them go down the road. Don't try to retaliate in any way. If it's something that's going to cause a crash or anything like that that's putting people in danger, don't hesitate. Call 911. Let's get law enforcement there, get this individual stopped, get the situation under control. If by chance they're following you or anything like that and you're nervous and fear for your safety, we're in a car. Create some separation between you. Take an off-ramp if you need to. If you need to go to a police station or anything like that, try to get that separation.
After the break, let's stick with driving and talk about distracted driving. It's also causing concern among officials as more people are found to be taking their eyes off the road. But first, it's KSL Traffic, brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
We've had earlier crashes on the Valley freeways cleaned up. Salt Lake County freeways are in good shape, but we do have the road work still causing slowdowns southbound I-15 going from Kaysville to Farmington. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
It's Julie from the Cache Valley Visitors Bureau inviting you to come celebrate summer in Logan. From nonstop festivals to super close outdoor adventures to the most charming historic downtown and great restaurants, it's all right here. Let's just stop for 1 second. I don't know why everyone who lives in Salt Lake thinks it takes 3 hours to get to Logan, but unless you're dragging a handcart, it'll only take you 1 hour and 20 minutes, so just get in your car and get up here. You know we're Utah's heart of the arts. This week, live performances of Matilda the Musical, the professional Olyark Repertory Theater's inspiring musical Bright Star, plus they open Sherlock Holmes, the final adventure. Wait, the swashbuckling Broadway hit The Scarlet Pimpernel hits the stage too. Good night! Free concerts every weekday at noon in the Tabernacle and free concerts and movies at the Outdoor Plaza. Mark your calendars for the Cache Valley Cruise-In Classic Car Show 4th of July weekend and a packed schedule of nonstop fun all summer long. ExploreLogan.com. ExploreLogan.com.
It's going to be a hot one before you know it, and that means now is the time to get your lawn ready with an application of Revive Organic Soil Treatment. Revive takes every drop of water deep down to the roots, where your grass can use it. Use Revive in early summer. It's the protection your lawn needs to stay lush and green during the hot temperatures coming. With Revive, watering twice a week is like watering 4 times a week. You'll save water, you'll save money. Spread it, spray it. Use Revive now. It works.
1 in 6 Utah kids face hunger, and the summer months make things even more challenging. because families can no longer rely on school meals to help them get by. These days, the situation is more dramatic than ever. That's why Utah Food Bank is again holding its annual Summer Business Food and Fund Drive, encouraging organizations of all sizes to gather food for donations for families. Beginning in early June and running through the end of August, the Summer Business Food and Fund Drive is your chance to make a difference for families seeking emergency food requests to help stretch their budgets. Rally your coworkers, friends, or a community group of any size to make a collection. Every dollar earned turns into more than $7 in the form of goods and services to help those in need. What are you waiting for? Organize your Summer Business Food and Fund Drive today. To find out more or to get ideas for your own DIY fundraiser, visit utahfoodbank.org.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Jane has 150,000 miles on her truck, and she's proud of that. Jane's secret? AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help her find the right parts. Jane's brother Josh only cares that his car starts and goes, but when it doesn't, he also goes to AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help with free services. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
I am down 50 pounds in 11 weeks, and this program works. The pounds melt off. It's amazing.
I let go of 50 pounds. It felt unreal. I was so proud of myself.
Get in the best shape of your life with Soda Weight Loss.
Just 3 weeks in, and pounds are dropping off very quickly. I am down 26 pounds in 3 weeks.
Summer is right around the corner.
Your summer body starts right here because Soda's summer savings are on.
Every single day, Soda Weight Loss is helping people let go of the weight without drugs, without hunger, and the weight stays off.
I tried other things, came to soda, just amazing.
I started on soda 8 months ago, and I have released 80 pounds now.
Summer savings, stunning results, only at Soda Weight Loss. Get started now at sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com.
Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
You were listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos. A staggering number of people are killed each year in distracted driving accidents. Project Yellow Light has spent the past 14 years trying to raise awareness about these entirely preventable tragedies. Founder Julie Garner and the organization's 2025 scholarship winner, Weber State University student Levi Bridge, joined me to talk about this important topic. Now, Julie, start out, describe for me the seriousness of distracted driving.
Distracted driving is just so prevalent in this country and many places around the globe. In 2023, the latest statistics that we have, vehicle crashes killed over 3,200 people in 2023. And it's just a terrible, terrible thing. And it's one of the leading causes of death of our youth in this country.
What is the biggest problem with distracted driving? I mean, what is happening? What is distracting us?
Well, I think, with the cell phone use, it's just that everybody thinks that they're invincible, and particularly our youngest drivers that just don't have as much experience, but they just think it's not going to happen to them if they just answer that text or whatever. And it can and it does. And I am just passionate about getting the word out to all of our drivers, especially our youngest ones, to be careful on the road because it's so often totally preventable, those car crashes that are caused by distracted driving, if they just put the phone away and focus on driving.
So tell us about the contest that you have involving young people, and we have Levi Bridge with us also. But first of all, tell us about this contest, and then we'll talk with Levi. I guess he's the winner.
Well, Project Yellow Light is a national scholarship competition to create public service ads where students do that, and they warn their peers of the dangers of distracted driving, and especially the use of cell phone use while driving. And so we have this annual competition, and we are so happy to be in our 14th year with partnership with the Ad Council. And it's just amazing. We reach so many students all across the country, and we really are just thrilled that it continues to grow and that our young people are helping us get the word out. We really feel like it's that peer-to-peer communication from the youth that resonates with one another and makes a difference.
Levi, describe for us why you are passionate about this topic.
Really, road safety is a serious issue, especially here in Utah, where, if I remember correctly, I read somewhere that we are the #1 state of road rage, if you can believe that, which is crazy.
Yeah, in fact, we have some stories today about that.
Oh my! But a lot of accidents and road incidents can be solved by just putting away distractions in the car, like phones, or I saw a person eating a sandwich while driving. That's just anything.
Right. So describe for us how you became the winner. What did you put forth that made you the winner of this contest?
Well, I constructed a audio spot, and how I did that was my elder brother, who made a presentation on distracted driving and how we can't really, multitask, how that's not really a thing that we can do. He made a presentation on that, and he let me use the intro of his presentation as a sort of blueprint, as a framework. So I went off of that, scripted a new audio spot, put the music together myself in Logic Pro, and finalized the audio and sent it in.
So describe for us what's in your spot.
It's sort of it starts off with a funny, quirky, positive tone. Like, nobody had to tell your grandparents not to use their typewriters and drive. So why should it be any different for us kids and our cell phones? And then it goes into a more serious statistic and kind of says, hey, we're better. We know better than this. We're smarter than this.
Julie, this is something that is very close to your heart. I understand that this contest honors your son, Hunter, who was tragically killed in a crash at age 16. So this is something that you are very passionate about.
Yes, it is definitely, Maria. It's a passion project for me and my husband and daughter. As you know, when something like that happens to you, your whole world comes to a screeching halt. And you pretty much want to die yourself. But what we did do is we wanted to save all of Hunter's friends and all young people, as I learned at that point that car crashes were the leading cause of death of our youth, and it's still one of the leading causes. And we wanted to keep his name alive. So we started this competition in his high school and started off with the video competition, and then we partnered with the Ad Council, and all of a sudden we went nationwide from one high school. And we added the billboard and the radio, which Levi won the radio competition. But it's just amazing how many young people are involved each year, and just the creativity and the wonderful work that they present to us and help us to spread this message.
Levi, since putting together this public service announcement, how has it changed the way you view how your friends are driving or how you drive?
It's definitely given me more of a awareness for looking out for that kind of behavior in myself, as well as peers, family members, and even people I drive next to on the road. Like, you'll be driving by, you'll glance next to you, and there's somebody looking down on their phones, and just say, I hope they don't do that anymore, basically.
Right. How do you hope that your public service announcement will make a difference?
People like to learn in fun ways. That's why the opening of the advertisement I submitted was that funny, nobody had to tell your grandpa not to drive and use his typewriter. And that's kind of a way to get the attention, and then you give them the serious statistic. Or at least that's what I've found anyway.
Right. Julie, you mentioned that something like this definitely changes your life. I mean, when you woke up on that morning, and when we wake up every morning, we never think that something like this is going to happen to us.
Yeah, and it's so true. I think that's so true of everyone. You know, you just think, oh, I'll just look at that one text, or I'll just do whatever with your phone, or whatever the distraction is, but it can and it does. And so that's why we are so passionate about getting this word out, because for the most part, it is totally preventable, especially with our younger drivers. And, you know, as Levi said, we're just trying to capture the attention of these young people. And there's no better way than this peer-to-peer communication where they can talk the talk to each other and it really resonates. And one of the fun things about this competition is not only do the winners win a prize, but their work is shared across the country through our partnerships. And that's pretty amazing. And we announce our winners in New York, in Times Square each year on those big boards. So it's a wonderful opportunity for all of our participants. You know, one of the things I try to stress with everyone, because we only select 6 winners each year, is that everybody who takes part is a winner in my heart, because they are helping each other spread the word to their little circle of influence. And if they can change the habits of just one person, maybe even themselves, by being aware of this phenomena, they may save a life, and it may be their own life. So we are just, you know, continuing to help spread this word.
Project Yellow Light in its 14th year. What are some of the stories that you've heard from folks, and how do you believe that you really are making a difference?
Some of the past winners have kept up with me over the years, and I hear from people just throughout the country who just reach out and say, I just saw this, or can relate to having a child who was killed or what have you. And so it just is always rewarding to me to know that we are trying to make a difference. The numbers of participants continues to grow. We reach every state in the nation, including D.C. We continue to have so many people who take part, and we just feel so grateful that everybody's helping us spread this message to be careful on the road.
Levi, is there anything you'd like to add?
Stay safe out there.
That is definitely great. And any final thoughts for us, Julie?
Check us out at projectyellowlight.com. You can see all the winners' work. You can participate in next year's competition, and you can learn all about the dangers of distracted driving. projectyellowlight.com. And I second Levi's point, stay safe on the road.
And I third that. Project Yellow Light founder Julie Garner and the 2025 scholarship winner Levi Bridge joining me to talk about distracted driving. It's 2:30 midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. Utah Fire Watch, new research to predict how and where wildfires move. A major effort to save an historic building in Ogden, and KSL traffic, Ricky.
We do have some unusual heavy and slow traffic southbound I-15 going through Draper starting right about 123rd South. Also a small accident northbound I-15 prior to 31st Street in Ogden. Maria?
Thank you, Ricky. Now KSL's top local story. Road rage crashes continue to grow. We've reported on several in the state already this year. Now we're learning about charges in another road rage case that played out in Sandy. KSL News Radio's Randall Jepson has more.
These charges paint a scary picture of a run-in between 2 drivers on I-15 near 90th South. This happened in late April. A woman told the Utah Highway Patrol she drove up behind a red truck at normal freeway speed. She passed it, and she has the dash cam video to prove it. But the driver in that red truck apparently got ticked off. Charging documents say Stephen Holliday from Farmington, he was the driver. He pulled up beside her and swerved to run her off the road multiple times, even making a throat-slashing gesture. Investigators go on to say he then pulled in front of her and hit the brakes. Well, thanks to that dash cam, Holliday was tracked down and now faces multiple felonies. Randall Jepson, KSL News Radio.
Child advocates say they are heartbroken for a 3-year-old girl with autism who police say was abused in her home in Box Elder County. Licensed psychologist Julia Hood with the Autism Council of Utah says special needs kids can be a lot to deal with sometimes, but parents have to take steps to make sure that they can best help our kids.
If you're not doing what you need to do to keep yourself regulated, to keep yourself able to be present and supportive of your own child, then they're not going to benefit from that.
She says simple things like exercise, reading, or being alone for a few minutes can go a long way. If you ever find yourself in need of more urgent help, you can find more resources at kslnewsradio.com. Other national stories KSL is following. President Trump is pushing back against claims that the U.S. did not completely destroy Iran's nuclear sites with its strike over the weekend. Now, he made those comments today at the NATO summit. Former Utah Congressman Chris Stewart agrees that the attack was a success and is likely to be the last U.S. strike on Iran.
I really think this is a very, very limited engagement with a very specific outcome. I think we've achieved that outcome. I see no reason at all why we would involve any further. And in fact, I think the appeasement has held so far, or the peace agreement has held so far, and I think it will continue to hold. So I don't expect the U.S. to have any further military engagements in Iran.
Stewart speaking to me earlier, he says it will be a bit longer before we know the full extent of the damage. And taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow ending the day down 107 points, about 0.25%, sitting at 42,983. S&P 500 down by just a fraction. It's pretty flat. NASDAQ up by 61 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. What's happening, Ricky?
We've had an accident in Weber County northbound I-15 as you're approaching 31st Street in Ogden, but it looks like it's already been quickly moved out of traffic, not seeing that it's causing any kind of delay or issue with drivers in the area. We do have traffic that's busy and sometimes a little slow southbound I-15 in Draper on the way to Bluffdale. Celebrate freedom in Paris, Idaho. 4th of July Chuck Wagon Breakfast and Parade. On the 5th, a 5K run, Junior Rodeo, Craft Vendor Fair, and free concert. Visit bearlake.org for details. Ricky Meeson, the KSL Traffic Center.
The temperature headed upward. Today's high 86, but up to 94 tomorrow, and then staying in the mid-90s for the rest of the week without that chance of rain. 84 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. For years now, I've been telling you about Connecticut soft water systems that use 2/3 less salt than the others. But I've never told you exactly how they do that. Well, there are several ways, so consider this as part one in a series. Most of the softeners out there use a finicky, hard-to-adjust computer to guesstimate when to cycle, and it errs on the side of cycling too often, which means it'll burn through way too much salt way too soon. Connecticut is different. It has an all-mechanical system that measures the water precisely. No computer, no guesstimating, so it cycles only when needed. The result? Connecticut delivers perfectly soft water 24/7 using minimal salt. So why not save your lower back from carrying the 3 bags of salt when all you need is 1? Call Northern Utah's authorized Connecticut dealer, Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake. Call them now, 801-576-8600, or log on to softwaterutah.com and tell them Doug sent you.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Friday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
You were listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos. The Forsyth fire in southern Utah continues to burn this hour with no containment. This afternoon, we learned the fire has now burned nearly 9,000 acres. Utah Fire Watch special coverage here on Midday. Candy Stevenson with the Great Basin Incident Management Team says the fire is still growing.
So the Forsyth Fire is 8,899 acres. It's still 0% contained. We have 696 personnel on the fire, which is up from the last few days. We've ordered more crews and have more air operations in to help protect the communities around Pine Valley and Grass Valley, the structures around both of those communities. So we're emphasizing a lot of our efforts in those areas, as well as trying to keep the fire perimeter as small as possible, so putting in lines around the rest of the fire.
She says weather has played a major role in the growth of this fire.
Yeah, the weather's had a huge impact, especially on being in the last few days, being able to get air operations up and running. When the first beginning stages of this fire, winds were too high and they couldn't operate air operations. They were all grounded. So now it's been a huge impact, as well as being able to, having the firefighters on the ground, being able to make some progress on the fire. A little bit less growth than would be if the winds were higher, obviously, but still growing. We still have gusts to 15 miles per hour on the ridges. So there's still growth expected. So we do expect the fire to continue to grow and we'll have an increase in acres, but we're looking at increase in containment probably later today, if not by tomorrow, seeing some of those areas around Pine Valley where the most emphasis is from the firefighters, the most efforts being made to protect the homes there.
Stevenson says even with the growth, fire crews are making progress.
So the firefighters, even though you're seeing 0% containment, the firefighters are still working very hard. And see what happens is until we don't up the containment until we know that we can leave that area and say that it's safe and secure. So they're just out there ground truthing that and making sure that no spot fires or what we call slop over, which is like where the fire can slop over the edge of the perimeter where it is now, or a spot fire is where an ember can travel outside the fire perimeter into another area. So since the wind is still up to 15 miles per hour and we're expecting stronger winds in the next few days, we want to make sure that we're keeping those lines deep enough, those containment lines and that fire is mopped up deep enough inside the fire perimeter that we can say that's contained.
As the wildfire season gets underway with dry vegetation, high temperatures, and unpredictable winds, a new tool has been developed to help better predict wildfire danger. BYU graduate student Jane Housley has just completed research that will help improve the speed and accuracy of wildfire protection models. Now, she tells me her research comes at just the right time.
It was pretty amazing when we first started this project. It was right in the heart of the LA wildfires. So it's just crazy to see how relevant it has become.
So tell us about your research and this new tool that you've come up with.
Yeah, so within the context of wildfires, one of the biggest factors that predicts like where a fire is going to go is wind. So my project deals with entirely wind prediction. And one of the leading models for wind prediction is a software called Wind Ninja, which was developed by researchers at the U.S. Fire Sciences Lab in Montana. So my project was trying to improve the speed of the Wind Ninja software, which kind of takes a long time to run if you want really good results. And so my project was able to achieve really good results in a really fast time using a neural network, which is kind of a new method in this field.
Yeah, go a little bit more in depth for some of us who may not understand words like neural network, what that really means.
Yeah, so basically a lot of the research in this field kind of looks like you try to understand all the physics of what's happening with wildfires and wind, and you understand all these parameters and variables kind of from a scientist perspective. But what a neural network does is it just takes tons and tons of data, and I'm talking like thousands and thousands of simulations of wildfires, and it just picks up on patterns in these wildfires without actually even knowing any physical laws that we've studied as humans.
So talk about how this will make a difference in predicting and really helping us with wildfires.
Yeah, so previously to achieve this kind of accuracy with wind modeling, it would take about 14 seconds per simulation, which if you're trying to run thousands of simulations, that's going to add up over time. And now this new model has cut that down to 1 or 2 seconds per simulation, which is about a 7 times increase in just the speed it takes to predict wind, which, I mean, we've seen with the Los Angeles fires, wind is a huge factor in determining where fires go. So being able to predict wind will help us predict wildfires, which ultimately leads to prevention of wildfires.
Right. So in the LA case, for example, maybe you can give us kind of a real world example what this would have meant if they had had this kind of prediction in that case.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was such a difficult situation because those winds are, you know, they were blowing so fast and not really something that we see commonly. But being able to if we had been able to understand where these winds were going to blow and how fast, then we would have been able to understand a little bit better, at least, where the fires would have gone, which then, you know, it gets firefighters on the ground faster to help prevent us from damage to homes and communities. So where do we go from here? So the next step of this project, I've developed the neural network, and I'm still working with the researchers at Wind Ninja. We're kind of working in this implementation step, so they want to get this model into their software to be able to release to wildfire researchers all across the country. And how soon do they think that can actually happen? The model is already built. They're looking to train it on some more data to get an even more accurate model, and I don't have a time estimate of when that's going to happen, but we've been moving really quickly with them. We want to release a research paper next month, so I'm assuming it'll be fairly soon. So final thoughts for us. I think just one of the coolest parts of this project is we've kind of proven how well machine learning and neural networks do in the realm of wind modeling, and I'm excited to see how other researchers can take these methods and apply it to other parts of wildfires to help make that prediction and prevention even better. Stick with KSL News Radio throughout this fire season. We have maps, data, and resources available for you and your family. Just go to kslnewsradio.com and click Utah Fire Watch at the top of the home screen. An historic building in Ogden could be on the chopping block if the city can't find a way to save it. That story in just a few minutes. But first, KSL Traffic brought to you by Mountain America's Double Rewards credit card promotion. Ricky?
It's been a disabled vehicle causing delays on southbound I-15 in Draper. The vehicle is now out of traffic on the right shoulder. This is just after 146 South, but we're still dealing with delays in the area. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Do you know how to tell if a clogged drain is something to worry about or not? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and I understand it's annoying and inconvenient, but sometimes a clogged drain can be a sign there's a more serious issue with your sewer main line. If the drains in the lowest level of your home aren't draining, or you flush a toilet and it comes up somewhere else like a shower or a floor drain, I'm urging you to look at this as more than just an annoyance. The last thing I want you to experience is a sewer backup. If you're a homeowner experiencing any of these issues, the first step would be to snake the line to see if it's just a blockage, which one of our drain techs can do for only $29. Yep, you heard that right. Any Hour Services will snake any drain line with normal access for only $29. Sinks, showers, tubs, toilets, floor drains, laundry drains, even that sewer main line that connects to the city. We'll snake any line for just $29. For help with your drain issues, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7700. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Visit the contest page on KSLNewsRadio.com. This week, you can win tickets to Western Stampede. Don't miss the West Jordan Stampede and Rodeo, celebrating 70 years, July 3rd through the 5th. Or win tickets to Barry Manilow, coming to the Maverick Center for the last time on July 14th. Plus, win free tickets to Lagoon or an upcoming Real Salt Lake home match. Text the word contest to 57500 or go to KSLNewsRadio.com/contests.
Join KSL and the movie show this Friday from 10 to 1 at the Layton NPS store at 1150 North Main Street in Layton, npsstore.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Jane has 150,000 miles on her truck, and she's proud of that. Jane's secret? AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help her find the right parts. Jane's brother Josh only cares that his car starts and goes, but when it doesn't, he also goes to AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help with free services. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Progressive has great customer service, and it's easy to reach us because great and easy is the way to be. Like salads. Great for you, and so easy you can put any group of veggies in a bowl and it's a salad. A full carrot with a head of cabbage? Weird, but still a salad. One radish and a couple of green beans? Also a salad. 14 blueberries, half an onion, and a sunchoke? Odd, yes, but an odd salad. So contact Progressive's customer service by phone, app, or online. It's great and easy, just like salad. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Your electric bill is going to be higher for summer, but not if you get new windows from Advanced Window Products. State-of-the-art double-pane windows and insulated frames, any style, any color, from a company that's been building them right here in Salt Lake City for 39 years. Not only are you buying local, but you're cutting out the middleman because they're the factory. You save 30, even 40% on your new windows, and you get a lifetime guarantee from a trusted local company. If there's a problem 5 years from now, they come right over and get things straight. And right now, you can save even more. If you call Advanced Windows for a quote, they'll give you an extra $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. Advanced Windows offers buy now, pay later. They have 60-month 0% financing. They always work out affordable payments, plus $2,500 off. So get your new windows for summer. Make the call now, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or you can go to advancedwindows.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Jane has 150,000 miles on her truck, and she's proud of that. Jane's secret? AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help her find the right parts. Jane's brother Josh only cares that his car starts and goes, but when it doesn't, he also goes to AutoZone, where friendly AutoZoners help with free services. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
You are listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos. Ogden City is working hard to save an historic treasure. David Sawyer is the Deputy Director of Community and Economic Development for the City of Ogden, and he tells me about the city's attempts to find a developer to save the Union Stock Exchange building.
It's a historic building in Ogden City, built in, I think, 1931. It was designed by the same architect that designed Ogden High School, the Ogden Municipal Building, and so it is something that is pretty unique and really a treasure for our community. And so that's the reason a few years back, Ogden City Redevelopment Agency purchased the building to try and stabilize it and do something with it, to repurpose it and preserve it ideally. And so it's whenever we start working with some of these historic buildings, though, it's easier said than done.
Mm-hmm. So describe the building for us. What does it look like?
Well, it's often described as an Art Deco type of style building. It's brick. It has a number of unique architectural characteristics along the top edge of the building, which includes things that are related to its original purpose, which was the livestock market or the stockyard exchange here in Ogden City back in the 20s and 30s. And so, for example, there are cast stone livestock heads, if you will, on the top columns in the buildings around the edge of the building. So livestock heads of bulls or sheep or hogs, and so those are up there on the top of the building as well. So somewhat unique, right? So it's kind of cool.
So go ahead.
I was just going to say the entrance is also quite unique with the large arched windows, and so it was quite the production of its day, and something that we certainly have an interest in preserving, if at all possible.
So, in a perfect world, which of course we don't live in, but if you had a dream developer, what would you like? What would be your vision for this building?
Well, to repurpose it and utilize it, ideally, it's probably best used for some type of commercial office building, maybe some combination of retail on the main floor, but it's about, I think I was just trying to remember, I think it's about 16,000 square feet. There's the way it's laid out, it's 2 floors, and so you walk in the front door, and it's really quite beautiful. There's like a 2-story entryway, and so with a grand staircase that looks out over the main entrance, and then it divides into on the first floor, a hallway to the left and the right. Each of those could be like separate. I would envision separate office suites, and you could do the same thing on the upper floors, 2 more office suites, and then not included in that square footage is the full basement, which previously housed, for example, the kitchen and kind of cafeteria for that operating stock exchange back in the day. And so there's full windows on the back side of the property that give quite a bit of daylight down there. So something could be done in that lower floor as well, and then the rest used for storage. And so that's kind of what we were thinking. It's situated in what is now kind of a professional commercial office park, if you will. And so we refer to that as our track line area because of its proximity to the bicycle trail that runs along the river. It's really turned out quite nicely. We also have the Rooster's Brewery right across the street. And so that brings a lot of folks in for lunch and dinner and so on. And so there's a number of operating businesses in the area. And so and there's additional new building going on to the north. And so this really has the potential to be something unique and special. We just have to find the right partner to finish it or to restore it and bring it back to life.
Sounds like with that grand staircase, it could be a nice wedding venue or a reception center of sorts.
True. I've heard that mentioned before as well. Yeah.
So what are the challenges then in redeveloping this building?
I think, anytime we start talking about a historic building like this, it's not a matter of just, cleaning it up and painting it. There's environmental issues relative to things like asbestos and lead paint and those kinds of things, none of which are insurmountable, but do offer unique challenges. And then because even before we owned it, there were a number of a lot of windows were missing, and so moisture over the years has kind of sunk in between the brick facade and the interior of the building. And so on the north side of the building in particular, some of the brick facade has deteriorated and fallen off. And so I think structurally the building's okay because a lot of it was constructed out of concrete and very solid building materials. And so when you walk around, like on the second floor, it's solid. I mean, there's nothing that feels flimsy there at all. And so I think the bones of the building are good, but the facade is in pretty rough shape, particularly on the north side of the building. From it appears to me just the moisture and the freezing and the thawing that comes through sitting unoccupied for a number of years. And so putting all that back up, particularly to the extent we want to make it historic, utilizing similar methods and construction methods, that makes it really expensive. And so in today's construction environment. And so we've talked to a number of developers or contractors that are interested in the building, and they take a look at it and they explain to us all the challenges, and then we get to the cost, and that's the biggest challenge. It's not that it can't be done; it's just a matter of cost. The city has, as the owner of the building right now, we've set aside some money to do some repairs. We have enough probably to button up the building. In other words, fix the roof, replace some of the windows that are missing, and seal it up so it doesn't continue to further deteriorate. And so that's one of our options. The other option is we are still talking to a developer contractor that has an interest in the building, and we're just trying to figure out how that can be financed, how that can be funded. But we're motivated, and we're hoping if we have the right partner, they'll be motivated to probably have to subsidize and maybe not be able to get the normal return they would on a project. It certainly won't pencil for a lot of developers or contractors, and so we're hoping that it'll be more of an emotional plea to preserve the building and be part of that restoration.
I have seen pictures of the building, and it would be amazing restored. Jeff Kaplan has joined me here in the studio. I wanted to take the train up and see the Ogden train station. That's another historic fixture up there. Have you ever done that?
Well, I used to live up there. 8 years ago.
So you didn't need to take the train.
No, I didn't need to take the train. We were always out on Ogden. That's where you went out on 25th Street.
That Union Station.
Yeah, the train station is magnificent. I wasn't able to place this building that they were talking about. I think it's because it's behind a fence and it's pretty beaten up.
Right now, it needs a lot of work, but it would be amazing. Thanks for joining me for Midday. Jeff Kaplan's going to take care of you, get you home now. Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News is next.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good afternoon, 3 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Jeff Kaplan. 84 degrees in Salt Lake City. KSL's top story. A mother and her boyfriend are now facing charges after police say they tied up her mostly nonverbal 3-year-old. The child was tied up for hours at a time. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
Police believe the boyfriend is reportedly responsible for the injuries to the child. Charging documents say he moved in with them earlier this year and watched the girl for up to 12 hours at a time. During that time, she suffered multiple injuries, including burns around her wrists and ankles, bruises, and even a bone fracture. The injuries continued, and police eventually got a warrant to search the home, where they found rope tied to the head and feet of her crib.
In Box Elder County, mother and boyfriend are charged with aggravated child abuse. After hearing about this case, some child advocates are sharing ways to cope with the demands of caring for children with special needs.
My heart just breaks for this child that they were put in that situation.
Julia Hood is the research chair for the Autism Council of Utah and a licensed psychologist.
If a child is nonverbal, isn't able to advocate for themselves, they are the ones who need the most care and the most support, just because they can't speak up and say what's happening.
Hood recognizes there's a lot that goes into caring for kids, especially those with special needs, but she says one of the best ways to handle the stress is by making sure you're taking care of yourself first.
If you're not doing what you need to do to keep yourself regulated, to keep yourself able to be present and supportive of your own child, then they're not going to benefit from that.
Hood says it could be something as simple as exercise, reading a book, or sitting alone in a room for a few minutes to decompress. But if you're really struggling and need more help beyond that, you can find more resources on our website, kslnewsradio.com. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story this hour, President Trump says the ceasefire in the Middle East is still holding. He says Iran and Israel have little energy left for fighting.
I dealt with both. And they're both tired, exhausted. They fought very, very hard and very viciously, very violently. And they were both satisfied to go home and get out.
The president is still insisting the U.S. bombing run destroyed Iran's nuclear capabilities. The Iranian government says their nuclear sites were badly damaged. Of course, Yesterday, we heard about a Pentagon intelligence report, a preliminary report that indicated the bombings only set the Iranian nuclear program back a few months. Former Utah Congressman Chris Stewart is pushing back.
Other indications are, some of them that have come out in just the last few hours, that the strike was perhaps even more effective than we had hoped. I'll give you an indicator that the IAEA has now said that they're sensing potential chemical leaks. That would only be true if the humanitarian aid.
ABC's Marcus Moore, the UN says that hundreds have